Okay, this is.
You have to keep going.
I have to keep going.
I don't have to.
Dun-dun-dun-dun. This is actually the full extended version that you'll be able to download soon of the actual opening song,
Oh.
including me saying this is part of it. I don't
Download it
know.
on iTunes.
Yeah. Hi everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday Club. Our Valentine's Day special, I guess, is what we're doing.
Hearts.
Yeah.
I kind of thought you guys were wearing red and pink, so I dressed up.
No,
You are perfect. You are holding it down perfectly. There's nothing I could have done that would have been in the right arena.
See, I try to. What is it? What's casual cosplay? This is my
More.
This is my Jughead casual cosplay.
Aww.
So I
You
went
mean
on
like the CW? CW.
Riverdale Jughead.
Okay.
We can never be together, man.
I don't get that.
From the
reference.
south side of town. Have you not watched
No, I'm
Riverdale?
sorry. Oh, watch the original. The original
it is so sleazy.
Cool,
It
cool,
is
cool, cool.
it is sleazy faux teenage television sex.
I've only seen the beginning, but it is a beautiful, beautiful, weird train wreck.
I keep hearing that too. It's like a trash pile
Yeah.
on which hearts are built.
We have a guest with us. We have Michelle Nguyen with us, who's going to
Thank you for being here.
thank you for being here.
Me.
To welcome to our wonderful
you.
set.
Thank you. Hi guys.
Who is?
Wait, which? I literally looked that one.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, until you
I was
find
like,
it.
is it that guy?
All right, I'm gonna. This is my CW Jughead hat.
Da-da-da-da.
All right.
Did you just Clark Kent Superman?
I did. Well, I will admit, I got the CW Jughead hat, and then I want to show it out. I got because I saw it in Also in the Squid. This is the Cheryl Blossom red ruby
You
spider break.
bad influence.
By all the things on the internet.
I just noticed that had a jagged.
Oh yeah, you
top.
just it's like the subtle jagged crown thing is how they're like.
Once you notice it, you're like, oh wait, Jughead.
Oh yeah, Jughead. Super cool.
We have, as usual, some gorgeous art behind
Oh.
us by our own Ken Nguyen. Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Ken.
Wherever he is, he is right.
We've heard no response.
Normally he's like hiding he's like drawing till the very last minute and then like ducks down and then
Yeah.
slowly crawls
It's
off to the
cute.
side.
Are there specific people? Are they just
What
like?
art did he use this week?
It
as
kind
a
I don't
inspiration?
remember. God, what did I send him?
Sorry, too many questions, huh?
I think I sent him because since we're talking about romance comics and we're talking about like
This looks like it's from some classics.
I may have I was going through some of the old Kirby Young romances and some of the what else I was going through the Crestwood Love, and I was trying to find things that weren't too what's the word I'm looking for, misogynistic.
Oh,
Dramatically
Yikes.
crying is a
Oh,
huge
headache
part.
crying, or my other favorite is the gentle shove away. No,
I'm shocked, but I'm still
No.
facing the camera.
Yeah, there we go.
But you're my husband's my dead husband's twin brother. No,
Oh,
there's a lot of
cool.
that.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, and I'm excited also because as I started putting this episode together, of thinking about the history and origin of Western romance comics and like all the cool stuff that was written in the 50s and 60s, and then
Short note, for those who were
Yeah.
here for the Comics Code a couple weeks ago, you will remember that there was a point in American comics where the baby medium was discovering new trends by the year and getting totally obsessed with them. And circa 1947, some guys, Simon and Kirby, the same Simon and Kirby who created Captain America and who would go on to do tons more. Jack Kirby, you've heard of him.
Internet.
On his way to immortality, he and Joe Simon were sort of like, what if we told love stories? People like love stories, and it became the biggest thing going. Everybody got into the
great.
game. It was one of the dominant genres of the 40s, 50s, and 60s in comic books.
But not past that.
until it. But I was thinking about growing up with comics, and I was like, I feel like I had like a real education in like romance comics because I was reading manga when I was a teenager.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's right.
But I don't know anything about manga anymore. Who do I know that knows something about manga?
Aw.
And I was like,
You open up the trash, and you're
That
like,
was a humble dab.
you were like,
was such a humble dab.
it's Michelle. We found her. She's in the trash.
I
She
left
knows
you in
all
Hawaii.
about
How did you get
manga.
back here?
Hello. I've come deep from the garbage can to talk about
You
the
are
trash I love.
You are, to be fair, you are one of like the deepest like anime and manga nerds that I know. Like your nerdiness goes deep. Like
It is-
you've trended on Reddit for the for the sheer nerdiness.
Don't look it up, guys.
Don't look it up. Don't look it up. But
No,
don't
are
look
you
it up.
talking about? That thing was my wedding.
Oh, your wedding
right?
was.
Yeah.
Your wedding was like I think I was like the day after, just in a bathrobe, clicking through, going.
Oh, we weren't close then, so he wasn't.
No,
I had a Sailor Moon wedding, but it wasn't like tacky. It was an Art Deco.
It was so fucking classy.
It was Art Deco wedding with like Sailor Moon like design aesthetic put in. Like the gobo lights were like the heart locket.
I'm
with our
madly in love with that
names.
venue too, so it was like.
Yeah, so it was at the Oviatt Penthouse. It was not as expensive as it looked because we got married in
It
December.
was amazing.
And I made everything myself, and it took forever, and it had a mental breakdown, but it was very good.
That's amazing.
It was-
and
it
there's
was-
a very good chance I've already seen your wedding on the internet because this is sounding really familiar.
Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing.
I had
It was slow clap material. It was definitely like.
It was like also 2.5 years ago. I was like, it's fine, guys. It's fine. You don't keep talking about it.
Yeah, I know.
But, I mean, we can keep talking about it. 'Cause it did take a whole year for me
Here's
to
the
get
thing.
it.
If you had an amazing wedding,
Uh-huh.
the imagery and memories of which are still inspiring people, you are completely on theme for today's episode.
Romance.
Because a romance
Romance.
can
Romance.
inspire across the years.
Romance, mother.
No, we can swear. You can say romance, motherfucker.
Mother effers.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, even in fact, my wedding ring, the bottom part is Sailor Moon's tiara, which you can't see. It's very too far away, but it's a very
I can
small
see
moon,
it.
I've
and there's some
forgotten.
stars.
Oh my God.
Thank you. I know I'm a very good jeweler.
Oh, I'd forgotten how deep it went.
Sorry,
It's so beautiful.
I'm just a trash, garbage person.
It's amazing.
I'm
I'm so happy right now.
Yeah, so I'm here for my back to the subject. I'm back here for my manga expertise, but like I just read a lot of manga. I'm not like an expert. I don't have things memorized. I just
None
know.
of us do.
I
I
just
mean,
know what I
that's not
like.
true. She does, and then the rest
Yes,
of us.
you know
just
a lot of
scratch out.
little factsies.
It's all gathered. It's the same thing. Just loving stuff for a long
Yeah.
time. But you brought a bunch of amazing talent. Where do we want to start? There's so much.
I don't know. I mean, like, my first thought also was that this is a contentious holiday,
Yeah.
and I think it's worth addressing that it is. That is a contentious holiday, and I'm proud to be a human being who was once very anti Valentine's Day because I had built up a narrative in my head that it meant something, which was not healthy, and probably self-sabotaged several pretty decent relationships through my own like bad narrative.
Aww.
And then like got into the anti-corporate aspects of it of like this is bullshit. They just wanted to sell me paper, and then eventually got so old that I'm like, you know, it's just an excuse to be like nice to people. Like it's an excuse
Jesus,
to buy food. No, but like in a good way. Like we really need more excuses in the world to buy each other food.
I just felt like I watched a whole Lifetime special about your life, so I feel very good
That's
myself.
every episode of the Wednesday Club.
Let me tell you a non bad way to think about Valentine's Day. 'Cause I've always thought about, because when I was terribly unpopular and unattractive as a child growing up. Don't Google it. But okay, you didn't have Google when I was growing up. I was very old. So I always thought of Valentine's Day as a fun time to make Valentines and give them to the friends that don't exist, or just like design Valentines. And then as I got older, I had friends. It was about hanging out with them and not about the boyfriend. Even the boyfriend-girlfriend aspect. When I had a boyfriend, I felt like my friends were so sad on that day that I was like, hey, let's do our date on a different day and let's just like have people over. So when I was in college, we would just have people over and we'd hang out and it was cool and it was chill and no one had to feel bad that day.
Just a day to show the people you care about that you care about.
It's about general love.
about general love, which is
Yeah.
a great way to bring forward and just think about the things that you actually
Yeah,
care
it's
about.
like Thanksgiving part 2.
Or Japanese Christmas. No, well. It's my other deep dive. That
Speaking of general
yes.
love, I think we should give a shout out. I believe we have a lot of tiny potatoes with us due to
Oh.
an Erica raid.
Are we having an Erica raid?
Live. Thanks, tiny potatoes.
hello, tiny
potatoes.
small spuds, tiny potatoes.
Small spuds. Is that
Small
like
spuds.
is that a badge you get after being a potato for a year?
Yeah,
and
you
then,
eventually like.
if not, we should tell Erica to get on
They
that.
have, you have to be careful. They have eyes everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm going to help.
Making some potato jokes on our romance
Oh.
episode, everybody. We're extremely
It's a
cool.
little starchy. Okay, it's gonna be that show.
You may have noticed we are down at Matt Key today. He has other obligations, so wish him well, but he's fine. Don't worry.
You guys are so mad about it.
I get to throw shade. He's not here. I throw shade.
I just want to make sure they know he's not like in
He's
a
not dead.
hospital or something.
Yeah, he's not dead.
I don't know what his plans entail. It could be at a hospital. I'm not going to pass judgment.
That's going to be another theme of tonight. It's about what you're into.
Yeah.
And whether it's working for you.
Boy, it's going to. So the one thing, I mean, like, we'll definitely. I don't quite know where to start because there's so much. But I will say the one thing Western comics definitely have a lot of baggage. There's a lot of weird gender baggage. There's a lot of weird sexuality baggage that comes up in these books, and none of them stay fresh forever. And as long as you can kind of come at them with that eye, and hopefully it's not so rotten at this point as any fruit will go, that it's not laughable. And we tried to find stuff that it wasn't like, oh, this is horribly offensive, but more like, oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God, sexism is kind of what we were shooting for.
Well, and there's a valid argument to be made about even those 40s and 50s romance comics, a lot of which feature very regressive politics. There's even there in America, you've got the double argument of sort of, are you doing more harm by reiterating a stereotype about how things work, or how do you balance that against the tangible good of letting, like, in some cases, actual women, or at least fictional women, tell their own stories? You've got both going on.
And man, those Kirby stories are pretty good.
Yeah.
And we'll be getting into some, but like Japan had a whole different set of
Different baggage?
baggage. Yeah, and their baggage is very, and being different baggage means that it's, I don't know, I found it as a teenager a lot easier to deal with something like Maze Nikoku or Karakano, because it wasn't my sexual politic issues. It wasn't what I was used to growing up with. And you brought in so much stuff I've never heard of. I'm so excited.
Yes, most of it's digital. But I think the biggest difference for me is growing up and seeing romance in comics is that I didn't really see it in comics. You would see like a Fortune Storm relationship go awry in X-Men, and then you'd be like, no, and then that was it. You would get, and then it was like back to the action. You got snippets of romance in these bigger plot lines. I didn't discover indie comics till I was like well in my 20s. So once I did, I was very happy. But anyway, before that, I was only into mainstream comics. Japan, I mean, their bread and butter. If you don't know the difference between, there's shonen comics and shoujo comics, and there's a bunch of other side categories with the two main ones.
It's the boys and girls.
Some for boys, some for girls, and the stuff for girls generally tends to be about love, and it's from the girl's point of view of her doing whatever she needs to do to get through, generally speaking, high school. It's always about high school, generally speaking, unless you get into the fantasy genre. But because there was so much growing up when I was a teenager and then into my 20s, seeing other young girls like go through love, it was like so much. It was just really refreshing to see so many takes on it. And then of course it's tropey. Now that I'm older, I'm like, yo, they use that trope all the time. There's always a rival. There's always a rival. There's always like a misunderstanding. There's always a beach episode. Like, but it was nice growing up. And as I'm older, there are of course a lot of genres of manga that are for older women, even specifically, or older women who just like watching boys make out, or just whatever you want.
Wait. There are women who like watching boys make out. This is a thing. He seemed shocked to discover.
Google the word for Joshi. Watch out. Watch out, internet.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a little different from Western comics, but there's a lot of romance to be had, though, my friends.
Out of curiosity, what were your earliest? But like, what were the books that you started reading? I'm like, what were your earliest?
Comics?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Since we got you.
What comics? Regular ones?
Any.
Both.
Spider-Mansies were just in my house. I have an older brother, and he read Spider-Man, Spawn, Batman a lot. Like those three particularly, I remember. Mm-hmm. And so I would just go into his room when he wasn't there and read his comics. And then when I got older, I was like, wait, I can like go into a store and pick my own. But I would just kind of buy what he had. It only started to branch out when I was once I discovered Sailor Moon on anime, and then at my local comic store when I was in high school, they had some manga that was back in those days. It was just kind of like Tokyo Pop they tried doing the big format.
Oh yeah,
with the one issue, like 4 different titles, but one issue each and one big thing. That didn't work out, and they started doing the like one book.
Well, here we got one right here.
A couple of chapters. Yeah.
I got
so
one. Yeah.
They started doing Sailor Moon, but in that compilation they did, I learned about Magic Knights Rayearth, Parasite. That was not
Parasite's
romance.
no. I mean, like that's a. I mean, like somebody finds that romantic. I'm not sure who.
But like it was a bunch of. It was shoujo and shonen like lumped together. So I learned about a lot of comics that way, and then the internet kind of started being a thing right around the year. Everyone do the math backwards. Here we go. Let's see, 19.
You're one of my friends, so we just assume that. Yeah.
Ish is like when the internet started. I used to go to the library and print out pictures of Jubilee because the printer didn't have a limit or anything, and it didn't cost any money. That's amazing. I just sat there and like found a printer and was like, print out pictures of Jubilee, Sailor Moon. Gonna go on all the forums, find some good art.
We were almost certainly on some of the same websites.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely were on some. Oh, that's a. I was trying to do the math of how long have we've been in the same friends group for like we've bounced. Oh God,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. I think I might have met you in 2003, but I don't know. I met a lot of people that night. It was AX 2003.
Oh yeah, no, I was there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
AX meaning Anime Expo?
Anime Expo.
Sorry. Yeah, that's when I met Matt Mercer. I met, let's see who else on the show that was there. I don't know, I shouldn't talk about this, but anyway, I met a lot of you guys that year. It was very
Matt ain't watching. He got shit to do.
He's not watching. He's busy playing Monster Hunter.
Well, that might be true.
I
Actually,
hear that game is great.
It's so good. I'm very bad at it, but I really like it.
I just want to make a pet cat.
I know, I just dressed up my cat. It's like, I just dressed up.
There's a cat builder. I'm so excited.
It's very good.
But I mean, like, did you went straight into basically was what Tokyo Pop was putting out there at the time?
It was Tokyo Pop. Then I think like I remember Viz got started like a little after.
And I'm sure knowing Diana Tolan, who was like the manga.
We're just
crack
name dropping.
dealer.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's fine. The Diana Tolan was the manga crack dealer of Los Angeles for many years.
Google her.
So
guys.
wait, okay, I'm going to actually Google her. This was the person who...
She met Taliesin when she was like 14.
14, 15. So she was a customer at my Japanese toy store when I was younger. And, oh man, this is going to get so dark.
Sorry, it's just like when you're a weeb, when you're really young and you get older and you talk about your youth, you're just like, it was embarrassing.
Oh man, yeah.
Should we explain what a weeb is for anyone who might not know?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Well, it's a word we're taking back because it used to be a really negative thing. You call somebody who is like really into Japanese culture and stuff, and then just like runs around screaming like kawaii, and it's like it's like so like
I hit him with a
culturally
stick,
offensive.
yeah.
But like at least people my age, my friend group, we say like, oh yeah, we're trash can weebs. That means like we really like this stuff, but like unapologetically, like we obviously respectful to the culture and everything, but it's like yeah, we just really like it. Like it's okay to like stuff. It's not we don't have to keep hiding in our trash can.
No, and nerd is now cool. Nerd
Yeah.
is cool. We have decided.
Well, to be
it's
fair,
over.
of the nerds, I think people who like anime and manga are really shit on a lot.
They certainly were when I was younger.
By mainstream nerds a lot, like for sure, like absolutely. So I think it's still kind of a thing where nerds think other nerds aren't cool.
I feel like Twilight gave us a break for a while. Which this is part of my.
We can't hate on those fans either.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like
Nerds, why you gotta be obsessed with internal hierarchies?
I did
Isn't that the whole thing
actually
we're
have
trying to-
in defense of Twilight, I did finally have a moment of like, there's just no reason to be upset about anything that was not made for me that I just don't enjoy. Other than
I was an early Twilight backlasher, where I was sort of like, is your problem with this based on the book, or is it based on some other
I
stuff?
think it was just based on I enjoyed having a problem with something.
Which, granted, is a very popular thing to do.
And then once I realized that, I'm like, that's so dull. So I like the only remnant was a friend who, bless her, got me this amazing, or she sent me over to the place where I bought a Team Edward shirt that had Edward James Olmos on it. I'm like,
Okay, that's adorable.
That's very good.
Once I was like, man, I got nothing against this fucking shit.
Yeah,
I'm
let
not gonna-
people like
just like your shit. And like it's not my sexy, but it's somebody's hot and bothered about this shit.
Yeah, one of my best friends has a big cover cutout of Edward Cullen, and like it's like she liked it ironically at first, and then she just really liked it. But it's like it's fine.
she?
And I think it's really funny because like now she has babies, and this is telling too much story about her, but she has twin girls who are like they talk now. But every Christmas they put the Santa hat in her color. It's very cute. You're still there. That's amazing.
I mean, like it is the new Anne Rice novel. Like we were reading trashy Anne Rice novels, now people are reading trashy
Enjoy
Twilight
your
novels.
smut. Leave it. It's fine.
So there will be some smut. Like for those of you who are wondering, yes, we're going to talk about Sunstone.
Pretty foreshadowing about smut.
Smut is give me smut and nothing but a dirty novel I can chat. I'll stand.
Okay,
That's a real song.
Oh, I didn't think it was Taliesin original,
No,
but
I wish.
I kind of hope
It seems
would
plausible, yeah.
I'm so glad that seemed plausibly my level.
It's in your wheelhouse, bro.
Oh man. I was thinking because like the stuff that also wasn't being published by Tokyo Pop at the time, like Rose of Versailles, which was good. Nakari Kana was through Viz. What else was like on by the way? I was at Hananalunlun. I'm gonna get weird. Candy.
So there's a lot of stuff that wasn't brought over legally, so you would just like figure it out.
We're gonna kind of give people quiet and unofficial, not permission to find some of these books that are not findable any other
all
way.
mine are findable. I checked. Mine are.
Okay, I mean,
I don't
did
know
you?
about yours. I checked.
Well, I mean, like, I wish I was like, I had a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to recommend to people, but I couldn't. I don't even know where to send people illegally to find it. Like,
It's just the deep internet. What do they call it on the news? The dark internet. Dude, I was watching the news the other day. They called it the dark internet, and I just started like crying, laughing. It's like, okay.
This is the
That
dark.
does sound like.
I think that's where we live.
That's also a trope from manga where it shows up at some point where it's like, "Hello, I'm the dark internet."
This is
I
the
have a
darkest
different
Wi-Fi
hat.
that we're currently on.
Yes.
So I think let's go back and forth a bit. This might be fun.
All right.
What's like bring something out. I want to get back into manga. This has been a.
I know you do seem like you're bristling to talk
I
about
am.
it.
I'm like
Jonesing?
Jones and
I mean, like, because I was such an Orange Road. Like Orange Road was like
Ooh, Orange Road.
I'm
Hello.
old man. They're like and
What's
like.
Kimagure Orange Road?
Oh, and you even know how to say it. That makes me so happy. Kimagure Orange Road is a manga and anime series, and it including a couple of OVAs and a movie, I believe. From
What's
the
an OVA?
Oh wow!
Oh,
God,
yeah,
I
you
got to
have to
do
explain
this.
that.
Just making
Yeah.
sure. Just
For
making
those of
sure
you who don't
probably
know,
this, but
OVA stands for original video animation, or also OAV, which is original animated video, depending on who uses it and how. They're pretty interchangeable. And it was the Japanese video industry, especially at the time, was really big into rental stores. People didn't buy stuff, and so they would create little mini movies that were usually like novellas. They were like 45 minutes to an hour long, and they were basically made to go into rental stores. So they would create these. There were things that would air on television if the television series was really popular, and they wanted to keep it taking up shelf space at a video store. After the series had come out, and they would put like 2 episodes per VHS tape. That's why they were so expensive also, is because you weren't supposed to buy them. Video stores, that's why it was like an $80 VHS
I
tape
didn't know
with 40
that.
bucks.
I just thought they wanted more money.
No, it was more than
They're
them just
redoing the
being dicks.
series.
It was that because, wow, I'm about to get deep.
I love this.
Because apartments are so small in Japan and the places you live, people don't collect videos.
That makes sense.
And you would rent, like everyone rented because you wouldn't
Yeah.
actually own this stuff. So they didn't have this big aftermarket that we had in the United States. So they would sell this 2-episode, 45-minute long VHS tape to a rental shop for $80. And then you could buy it used after that, and they would have that on the shelf for a month, and then the next 2 episodes would take its place, and then the next 2. And if they wanted to try and like eke out another couple months on that shelf, they would create a couple non-televised episodes, basically, which was the OVA thing, was just like, this is popular and renting well, so can you make a couple more? And since they could sell those tapes for $100 a pop, or 80, what was it, 8,000 yen?
Yeah.
There was a real market for this until like once finally Laserdiscs hit, and that was when they're like, that takes up a lot less space, and so you could actually like, and that kind of continued on as like people can actually afford that.
Yeah.
Oh man, I had some good stuff.
Wow. Yeah, there was so much anime on Laserdisc.
Oh man.
I had one friend in college who was like, "It's gonna be the next thing." He only bought his anime on Laserdisc,
It's the
and I'm
future,
like,
man.
"Ooh, where is he now?
We're through the
Where is he now with all
looking
his Laserdiscs?"
you can build with them. They're really stable. But Orange Road, so
it's
Kimagure
real
Orange Road. This was going somewhere. This is odd. It's a beautiful, wonderful love story. It's a love triangle, which it's a boy who's got this intense, deep crush on this really cool girl who's just Madoka, Ayukawa Madoka. She's known as the Pick in high school. I can't believe I didn't research this beforehand. This is all coming out of my brain.
Oh.
Because when she fights, like her fighting style is she attacks people with guitar picks. I kid you not.
Oh, what a cool bitch! Goddamn. Goddamn, I love that
She
girl.
cuts ya. She fucking cuts ya. And yeah, he's being bullied at one point, and she just beats the fuck out of these dudes. She plays saxophone. She's got like,
Oh Jesus.
she's got long. She gives no fucks. She just gives no fucks.
I want to say fake dating profiles for everyone we talk about tonight.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
And then-
attacks with guitar pick, gives no fucks.
But her best friend is this very bubbly, kind of cute friend who also falls for this boy and kind of decides that she's gonna like, she does the cutesy Japanese thing, and like really intensely the cutesy Japanese girl thing, and like leans into it, and so he's kind of like trying to she's great, but like he's got this intense thing for this girl who's who's not kind of doing a gig. And like they managed to keep this whole story floating for like a long season, partly also because he has telekinetic powers, But that's not
Oh,
really.
I forgot about that immediately.
It's so unimportant to the story that literally people forget about it.
Yeah, yep.
He and his two sisters all have telekinetic power. They have a cat that they torture, and then they make float around the apartment. And it was just like, I hate this.
I forgot
Big
about
fat
the
cat.
animal abuse
Yeah,
in Orange
no.
Road.
And the mom's dead, and like the mom had telekinetic powers and the dad doesn't. But like
Okay.
he keeps moving the kids because they don't want to. That's why they have to keep moving.
Oh.
Like you can't let
I think
anyone
I'm in a
know.
weird position with this one where I'm pretty sure I never read it, but I did read fan fiction about
Oh
it.
man.
Whatever I know about it is
Madoka
skewed.
hurt some people, and then they had a final movie where they resolved the whole thing, and like literally the telekinetic powers didn't happen at all in the movie. They
Cool.
never even mentioned.
Yeah.
And like it was like this intense, like the girl, the other girl who I can't even remember her name because I feel bad because I was like, but like has this intense breakdown and like, but it's like in a good way of like, what the fuck have I been doing? You're no good, and the fact that you've been letting this happen, you're shitty, and fuck you people. It's really great.
I feel like that's how Scott Pilgrim should have ended, but it didn't.
Man,
I said it! Why does everyone like Scott Pilgrim? I'm sorry.
no. You mean
That's right, but I can't let it go. I love it too much.
you mean the Knives movie?
Just
It is the Knives movie because Knives is the only hero that she's the one who's like, fuck you all, I'm out, peace.
all right, let's not talk about Scott Pilgrim. I'll get so mad.
But like, are you
not-
mad that Scott and Ramona end up together? Because they can just be garbage people and work on themselves together.
The most garbage
Not
Canadians.
healthy.
The garbage Canadians. Scott's a good one though. Scott's a good one because that is all about like
It
unhealthy.
is about relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of weird shit inserted in it, but it is about relationships and character building and figuring out that you were bad and
Yeah.
dealing with those consequences, even though there were no consequences for him.
Yeah, he got the girl. I know.
Yeah, I was like, no! It was better if it just ended. and then
Movie
they were-
Scott or book Scott or both?
Huh?
Movie Scott, book Scott or both?
Just, well,
I actually feel like movie
Movie
Scott
Scott was worse.
It's
I
worse
like-
than the movie because you don't have enough time, so you don't get a
Right.
lot of like just sitting around being depressed and working on their shit. Like most of book 5, I think,
Yeah,
is
I
just
read
them
the
being like,
comics
oh, we
also,
messed
but-
that up.
But he also
wasn't
did
as
less
bad in the
bad
comics.
shit. He didn't have enough time to do as much bad shit in the movie, which was the other.
Yeah, in the book, he kind of he
Oh, man.
flams around a lot.
Man.
It's like,
Yeah.
sorry.
But he
No.
doesn't like,
He's my high school friend I'm embarrassed by, but I still love. But I'm like, dude.
But it is true that we do. None of us three sitting here, I don't know you guys that well, but have not done a shitty thing this one by accident. You're like, oh, I'm shit.
Oh no,
I
even
should
a
go
couple
live under
times
it.
on purpose. I'll own up to it.
Yeah. So I mean, like, but it's about learning.
It's about learning.
and not glorifying the mistakes.
No.
I can see the angle there where you're sort of like, you don't want to see someone be like, haha, look at all that damage, bye.
Yeah.
No,
Like-
and bless. I wish Ramona had like walked away with. Ramona has earned the power of taste, and it never quite happened.
Nah, dog, that ain't her. Anyway, welcome to Wednesday Club. We're talking about Scott Pilgrim.
This is everything I've ever loved happening right now. This is exactly what I. So
Yay.
yeah, no, like so that was my Orange Road rant. So like, yeah, bring me something. Like you brought
Something good?
Your list was so nuts.
Well, let's see. I can talk about the physical. This is a very simple one.
Oh, you brought it.
Okay, what's that?
Rabucom, or Lovely Complex, is a very simple, no magical powers, just two high school kids that are real fucking cute. They live in Osaka, so they have crazy Osaka dialect. So
What does that mean for people who don't understand what that implies?
So just like in English, if you live in a different place in America, or if you live in England, you have a different accent. You say different kinds of words. In Japanese, and there's Tokyo dialect is kind of like standard, what you would learn in the textbook. And then Osaka dialect, there's lots of different dialects in Japan, not just two. But in Osaka dialect, they add some things to the ends of the words. They say certain words that other people wouldn't if they weren't in Osaka. And it's very cute, and I think it's the best dialect, because that's where I lived for 3 years before I moved to Los Angeles.
What's the Osaka vibe like? Would you say it like? Not that it's a perfect equivalation, but like is it a little more rural? Is it a little more like northwest, like north coast, west coast?
It's hard to say like LA, New York, because they're both big cities. Like I think the biggest city is Tokyo. I think the second biggest city is actually Sapporo up in Hokkaido, because it's fucking huge,
Sapporo,
but it's spread out.
No,
But it's not
that
by
big.
population. It's Tokyo and then Osaka. So I would say like it's very urban. Like it's not like the sticks at all. But it's not as big as Tokyo. It's like when you go to New York, it's fucking huge. Like Jesus, that city goes on forever.
So
But
like
it's still a big city. It's
like a Seattle, maybe. I don't know.
bigger than that, but yeah, kind of.
Like the vibe of Osaka.
But
What
the
is
vibe of Osaka is like, okay, the difference between the people In Osaka, you can brag about getting a bargain on something. In Tokyo, you brag about the price you pay because you have
very
so
fair.
much money.
I will
Isn't that
back,
weird? Like,
I will back that up.
and again, this is cultural. I'm not just making shit
No,
up.
I've spent some time in Tokyo. I'll back that one up.
I've heard
Roppongi
that
makes
people
me-
tend to be
yeah.
more cold in Tokyo, kind of like New Yorkers are busy, they're going throughout the day. And in Kansai, you can go to a bar and like talk to people, which is something a lot of Japanese will do. They don't go to bars and meet people or anything, but you can just end up, like someone would be like, hey, I heard you talking about this, like you seem to need help. Do you need help? Or I've had
Kansai's
people.
the region Osaka's in.
Yeah, I think it's just like people were just more willing to talk to a stranger, whereas I think people in Tokyo, just because there's so many people there, I think they're more just closed off. Like I got to get my shit done.
I'll back that up. Yeah.
Not having lived there, but like picking up little pieces, the way people describe it is almost as if like there are a lot of markers that out here would mean sort of country, like being nice, having a lot of traditional spaces, having a lot of this other stuff, except it is this huge giant city.
Yeah. I mean, there's different. So, for example, in Tokyo, it's hard to get out of Tokyo. You have to go on a train for a while to get out of Tokyo. In Osaka, you can go from Osaka to Kyoto by train in like an hour. You can by Shinkansen, it's like a half an hour, very fast. Or you can get to Kobe in like an hour, or you can go to Nara. It's like an hour, or you can go to what's it called, Himeji or Hiroshima in like an hour and a half. So it's closer. It's easier to travel around to different parts. So it gets very countryside in between those towns.
It's easy to get to, even if you're
so I
living
mean,
in a huge city.
you could meet people from more rural areas more easily because they're closer to the city.
Yeah,
I
but,
guess is what I mean.
People were impressed that I managed to commute from Chiba when I was living in Tokyo. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's fine.
it's basically Orange County. It's not that bad.
Yeah, because the country is much smaller. So it's like driving like 5 hours somewhere is like
That's a
tit to
lot.
tail, like But yeah, I think the other main thing though is like I feel a sense of openness, and I am like Kansai girl, like at heart,
I love these designs though.
Oh,
This comes with stickers, and I'm in.
Oh, that's right. Don't mess those up. They're very old. So this manga is actually also an anime series, and there was a live action movie made of it, which is like not great, but it's cute. If you watch the movie, you'll really hear that fucking Osaka dialect. Like it's crazy. So these two kids, the whole thing revolves around the girl who is very tall and the boy who is very short. And that is literally like the whole plot is that she likes him, but it's too weird because if they get together, everyone will make fun of her for being too tall.
Aww.
And it's like the stupidest. She has a complex about it. Lovely complex.
Oh, lovely complex. Oh, it's the most.
But the
such
way
a
it's
Japanese
written is
naming.
very, very sweet. It's by Aya Nakahara. I think it started in what year? 2001 to 2006. So it's a little bit of an older one.
Oh man, I'm so out of it.
The live action movie was in 2006, and the anime was in 2007. There's a lot of slapstick humor. There's a lot of it's very like they're best friends. Like they fight a lot, but they're best friends for a long time. They don't get together till like volume 4, I think, and then once they do get together, they focus kind of on the friend group, like a lot of manga do, and how the friends get together, and then they have a couple of breakups, and then of course the last book is like, we have to decide what we're gonna do for college. What are we gonna do? Like, and it's very, very cute.
I've noticed that is actually a trope I find in a lot of romance mangas. Once you get the couple together, then it just becomes like, how is this coupling affecting everybody else now?
Yeah, they need more story to keep writing. It's like, oh man, I got renewed for another
year.
issue.
Oh God.
So this is something we've covered occasionally on the show in the past, that there are big differences in format in different parts of the comic book industry, in different parts of the world, which will end up having an influence on content. So one thing that we often compared, like, a thing most Japanese comics don't contend with the problem that American comics have, where like you might hand off the keys to somebody else in 18 months and they have to pick it up and run with it. But you can have the situation where like you've gotten 10 volumes and it's going really well and you need to come up with some more stuff.
Yeah, and that's kind of why the tropes exist. A lot of editors will tell the manga writers, like, okay, how about this thing? I mean, this works for everybody else. Like, why don't you try it and then you have your characters do it? And people kind of like a sort of thing they can expect to happen. Like, there's got to be, like we said, the rival. There's got to be vacation. There's got to be the breakup and then the getting back together.
Vacation's a big one. I'm
Yeah.
remembering that
They go to the mountains or they go to the ocean, or they do both.
every now and then you get trip to Hawaii. Every now and then.
Or like someone's rich like mother or uncle has like a villa they can just go to. Always.
Somewhere up north. You're like,
Somewhere up north. We don't know where up north. You can read this in English legally. Viz Media did translate it. It was a while ago, so they'd be old issues. I'm not sure if they reprinted them ever. but they're on Amazon. You can find them. The anime, I want to say it's on Hulu or it's on something. You can just
Either Hulu or Crunchyroll.
yeah,
or...
it's licensed. The movie I don't think is licensed. Though. I don't think it was brought over, but you can find on that deep dark internet.
The fact that they make live action movie adaptations
I love
of
it.
oh man,
I love it. It gets to me. These should be real bad, but I love them.
so.
It's not like Death Note bad. It's like it's good. Like it's alright.
No, I mean like
I had a sister in there for some reason.
we were just I have a weird love of the Maison Koku live action film, which like yeah,
I've
no,
never
did I just
seen
hurt you?
any of the.
That is both brilliant and terrible at the same time, but in like this really like, wow, this is happening.
But if you're a fan of it, it's like, okay, I will come to this with an open heart.
So I need to see it because like that. You guys have heard me talk about this before, but that was the series that like changed me in junior high, where like I was a baby X-Men fan and I was getting into comics and all this stuff, and then somehow like I first discovered Ranma 1/2, and then immediately sort of thereafter found Maison Koku and like got really hooked on both of them. But it was I distinctly remember in junior high or whatever, like buying it, saving up and buying it one volume at a time. And the thing that was the like revelatory for me at the time, I didn't know that like American indie comics existed at that point in time. So I had never seen characters walking around in sweaters. Having like normal lives and struggling with jobs and all of this other, you know, this stuff that like that was what blew my mind, and I got massively overinvested in what I now realize were like crazy cartoon people. Like they were not normal neighbors, but in my head I was like, it's gripping drama of real life. I care deeply about whether he gets into college. Like
was it Kyoko? Was that the part
Tanashi.
Kyoko? And she had the Pio. That was the closest thing to a costume. Was she had a little.
She had a little manager's apron.
Manager's apron that had a little baby chick on it that said Pio Pio.
Which still exists. The Pio Pio still exists.
The basic story is a guy who lives with a bunch of terrible influence of people in a little rundown apartment house. And he's gonna leave because he wants to get this shit together and make it into college by passing the entrance exams. Except that they get a new manager for the apartment, and she's the most beautiful woman he's ever seen, and he falls madly in love and doesn't have the heart to leave. And then everything goes on from there.
Everything goes on. There is an end to it. Bless, and it is heartwarming and sad, and the neighbors are all terrible people, very terrible people.
I love them.
There's a lot of great puns. I discovered the live action movie, and I think this will amuse you. I was drunk, wandering the streets of Tokyo, and I found a bargain bin outside of VHS rental shop, and it had it in there for 300 yen for about $4. Oh
man!
And it was just my poor coworkers I'm holding them like. No, this is mine. I'm like trying to like haggle for like pocket change and be like, I'm going home with this. And they're like, you're trash, man. No. And I'm like,
it's like the Weeaboo fairy came and gave you a present. He's a falling star.
We're gonna watch it, and you're gonna be. There's a musical number.
Ooh.
With costumes. It's amazing.
Also, #bless. All the musical versions of all the things you love in manga and anime exists. Why, God, they're not good. They're all pretty much bad.
I love.
I've never seen any Takarazuka. There's so much.
We have to have a Takarazuka.
Okay.
Oh, okay. No.
Time before last, I was in Japan. I went to the Takarazuka review version of Rurouni Kenshin, and it was fucking awesome.
Oh.
Good. The guy with the Gatling gun got his own musical number. Or the girl, sorry, who played a guy. It was like, it was bonkers, bananas, buck wild.
Okay, who wants to take for those of you who don't know on this one, since we're going down this dark hole? I'll tell you what, or you can do it.
All-female theatrical reviews.
Yes. Absolutely. It's actually near Kobe, so it was near Osaka, so I could just get there easily. It's all women. It was originally created to get people to go to this new train station. Like this is back in.
It was a long time ago.
It was like the 1900s, not like a million years ago. But anyway, it got really popular because like Kabuki, the men play all the roles. So this guy was like, oh, I have an idea. I'll get all the women to do everything. And then eventually got so popular, they started a girls' school there, where now there's multiple levels. So there is like a elementary school, what's above that, grade school version, where the girls learn how to dance and sing and become perfect. They pick a kind of like, can start to feel like if they want to become the man or the woman actor or actress. And then after that, they all go into an audition. And if they get accepted, only like 1% of them get accepted to go to the high school for Takarazuka training to maybe be in a company. And it's
nuts.
And now they travel They do lots of different stories. They've done Rose of Versailles, a very famous one, which
Oh,
they
yes.
kind of bring back every couple of years.
They were doing God, some show they brought to the U.S.
Chicago.
They brought Chicago to which was
Yeah.
an all women's Chicago.
So good. But it was in Japanese.
In Japanese.
Oh, it's just they just do, and they have, and it is a review style show. So at the end, there's always like big feather outfits and top hats,
It's
and
so
everything
good.
is sequiny AF. Like it's over the
Hot
top.
androgynous women
the
in
top.
mustaches doing song and dance
Yeah,
numbers. It's
the girls are
amazing.
so girly, and the girl
Girl
men are
men are
just so like
so-
tough. It's so cool. But anyway, there's a very good documentary about it somewhere on the internet that was done in English. So if you guys can find that.
And they very famously do a lot of manga adaptations.
Yeah.
Like because they're very poppy, whereas like Kabuki is less pop. Kabuki was once poppy a billion
They
years
find
ago.
a cool thing and they make a show for it, which is the Road Attention was very good though.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so good. But the problem is like getting to see it. Those DVDs are very hard to get, and they are also brand new. They are like they're like $80, $90, $100 to get if you can find one.
Oof.
Yes, man. No, I've done a bit of the Sailor Moon. I've gone through a few of the Sailor Moon
Musicals. Those are very cute. Not all of them are good, but
Not
the
all of
new,
them are
new
good.
ones are really good.
I'm a bit behind. I'm a bit behind.
Anyway, sorry guys. That was just this is about romance. Hi, welcome to our romance episode.
But I do love that because it has sort of, obviously the cultural context for it is like more complicated than any one thing, but even though they may be training into playing male and female roles, there's sort of something inherently subversive about like taking a cast of all women and letting them interpret the entire thing, which
Yeah.
I've always sort of loved.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to remember. I've been reading a friend of mine who writes all about sexual politics. She has a great word for it. What is? Vesta, I know you're not watching. You're not going to text me. Transgressionary, I want to say. There's something.
Transgressive?
Transgressive. Yeah, like it is this gentle transgressive nature of it that makes it kind of titillating and kind of fun. And just how it sort of takes that original notion of just having all the men play all the parts and just sort of like gives a little twist and you're like, ooh, and it's
Good,
so good.
sparkly twist. Yeah.
Good, happy, sparkly twist.
God damn, it's so good. Anyway.
Spice a lot. Not that I have any problem seeing an all-male review of Chicago either, which I'd be totally into.
That'd be really cool.
Let's throw a Western one up here. I'm going to save the spicy stuff for later. I was delving. I mean, like I was trying to delve. I'm going to kind of do a broad coverage of sort of the old-fashioned stuff, just because it's a bit. It's definitely dated, and like a lot of it is hard to read, and like I went but a lot of it is also really cheap on Comixology. So I went in, like my first weird pull, and I was trying to figure out more about the history of this, was I went in for cowgirl romances.
I have only read a couple when we buy like old Western and romance comics, and it's a mashup, right? They're like Westerns are hit, romances are hit.
We should
get
do
me your
both.
cowgirl romances.
And I found some other mashup. Like I found a horror mashup, which was really
There's a whole series
horror
called
romance.
Weird Love that is reprinting.
Oh, yeah.
Like some of the most interesting of those mashups.
And my favorite thing about this, other than like the tropey, like the first story is literally just a trope about cattle wranglers and people stealing cattle.
You sure know a lot about wrangling cattle.
Wrangling
here,
cattle. Well,
Here at Geek and Sundry.
tipped a couple in my time. I'm not proud of it, but you get bored in Colorado.
So cattle wrangling and love.
And she's like kind of like one of the boys is trying to hit on her, and she's like, no, I'm not paying attention to you because there are people wrangling cattle. We got to
Yeah.
deal with it.
Yeah.
And he's and then like one of the cattle wranglers, she gets like briefly and kind of innocently kidnapped a couple times just so they can, draw her slightly tied up with a gag for like one panel, and then she's like, oh, and I got away. And like it ends up like one of the evil guys was really the brother of the other guy, and he gets shot. And it's like, my brother said that you were a fine filly, and now I'm here, and we should get together. And it's ridiculous.
You're one of us with all your manliness.
Oh, and then they use like really weird cowboy lingo. That's just, oh man, I'm trying to find some of it.
Maybe it's
just,
super accurate in 1953 cowboy talk.
Yeah, I'm like,
I don't
yeah.
know any 1953
Stay and build your
cowboys.
loop, cowboy.
Do what?
But too late, Buffalo. I rode with your rats long enough to see that the man in the buffalo hide coat wasn't always the same. I mean, like it was.
What?
I'm trying to find some of it. It's so ridiculous.
I sure like cow stuff.
A neat scheme. You ranchers fighting phantom rustlers in the rim rocks while your trusted friends are picked. I mean, like, it's so overwritten in like the most ridiculous way.
Because I'm sure it was written by people who were born and raised in New York City.
Oh yeah, I mean, like
New York City.
there's
Never forget.
there's the
I
I
calamity.
literally just saw that commercial for the first time because I was talking to
Oh,
somebody and
man.
I was like, where does that come from? And then it was a whole rabbit hole.
Yeah, it was
One
a whole
beautiful commercial
one
that
attempt
ran
to
for
sell
a
salsa.
million years. Oh, it's salsa.
Royal Roberts, which I can't believe is a real name to save my life. Is Royal
Royal?
Roberts a real name?
I don't know. Is that
That's
the
gotta be a
author?
pen
I got. It feels, but like this is like
It
That's
is.
the pen name is
the
heck.
Calamity Jane, as I'm showing it not to the internet. Thank you.
Oh.
The Calamity Jane. How did they put it? It's great. The Cowboys called her Tony Tyler, but fate named her Calamity Jane. And it's you would think it's a
very
Calamity
good.
Jane comic, but it's.
Is it just some other Calamity
I
Jane?
mean, like it's her, except she's mostly weeping and putting on dresses in an attempt to get a
So
man.
it's some other Calamity Jane.
Yeah.
All right.
Calamity
All
Jane's
right.
sister.
It's no Deadwood.
Calamity Jano.
Calamity Jude. I don't
Calamity
know.
June. Yeah.
Comedy Jello.
Yeah, and like
Jello.
Close.
and like she like decides a guy that she doesn't like a guy, and then she gets into the sheriff and decides that she's gonna find an even more dressier dress. It's really, I mean, like,
Find us a section of a cowgirl romance and we should read a couple panels.
oh man, I'm worried about that. Let me
Are
find
y'all
one that I
ready
know.
for a live reading of some cowgirl romance?
Okay, we're gonna do some of the
Live
cattle.
from
On behalf of the audience, I demand it now.
Okay, it's happening. I was gonna
That
say,
W stands for Western.
bless the Kirby stuff is actually much more readable than this.
Yes, this is an interesting, like, you're going to get a mixed bag with any random crop of stories from any time, but like I did find that I was very impressed by the Kirby Simon stuff. Being of their time, but very in an interesting way.
The thing that Kirby, those stories do that this one doesn't necessarily is I feel like it's less about the push and pull, which a lot of this is all about yes, no, Jane, Martha, Johnny, you know, it's a lot of that. Whereas John, Martha, John,
Janet.
yeah, Dr. Scott. Whereas the Kirby stuff was a little bit more lessons learned and was a lot about like it was very much like, you know, someone being prideful and then paying for it, or like someone learning about envy or jealousy. And there were a lot of happy endings, there were sad endings. They really mixed it up.
This was before the code, so you were allowed to have sad endings.
Yeah. All right, let's
This a good
see.
one?
This is a fun little page.
Holy. Okay.
Short miles away at Adler Gulch, the stranger's hoot howl signal drew two grinning riflemen from rocky hiding.
Is this the boy part?
Us,
Yeah, you do that one.
let's see. Sorry I'm a little late, compadres. Had to borrow the horse and the lady from those cattlemen behind us.
Had to what?
What
Had
is
to
that
borrow this horse and lady
And
from
lady.
the cattlemen behind us. Means he kidnapped the horse and the girl.
Okay, and then there's this, ignore that guy. And now what, you scum of the range? Do you think I'll forget your faces when the ropes and noses?
Noose.
And when the ropes
Sorry.
are noosed for Big Buffalo and all his thieves? Grin, you ape, but I warn you that your trail is short. You keep your hands off me!
And the kiss.
This is just to be sure you don't forget, sister.
While kissing her.
And what he
Classic
says
romance
whilst
comics.
kissing
Yep.
her.
Talking while kissing.
Oh, God. You smirking devil, if I ever cut your sign again, cut your sign?
Cut your sign
If I
again.
ever cut your sign again, I'll kill you for that. I'll kill you.
Like literally.
I ever cut your sign
already
again.
on a horse.
She's already gotten back on the horse and is
leaving.
riding.
Why do
Although
you have to get kissed?
it turns out that he let her go and that he's a
Wow.
double agent, but like also really into her because his brother's been telling her about this hot girl. It's so.
About this
Oh, so
story of a lady.
so she's supposed to be impressed by that kiss, but although she's
Well, he was
He
also
slipped,
trying to
like-
prove to them that he was a bad guy too. So what did?
I think he slipped a map in her mouth or something.
Oh man. Yeah.
X points to the treasure lady.
About the brother, he said, my brother, he said she'd never wear his brand, but maybe I swung the kind of rope to keep her in the family.
Yikes.
Shall I stay and try my luck?
She said he'd
Everybody,
never
I'm so
wear her
sorry.
brand.
If you are watching this show and you are a cowboy or girl, or you are somehow from the South, and I did very Scarlet Hair that. I'm very sorry.
That's
was
all right.
amazing.
That
I'm
was-
from
It
Pittsburgh.
was perfect.
so
we are
those are my excuses.
many things. Authentic is not one of them.
If you'd like to send your cowboy complaint emails, you can send them to Taliesin at
WednesdayClub.com.
There it is.
But yeah, there is a young romance collection that I will say is on Comixology.
Yes.
And I've been digging the living hell out of this. I know this is.
You got further than me. I binged the first volume like when we got it in the shop.
I'm part of the way through volume 2, but like I'm gonna, and it's there we are. There's that cover. I was trying to find some good images. It
Eating
is.
her chin.
It's,
He loves her
that
so
is
much,
exactly
and
how
it
you
devours
feel.
Nom, 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 nom.
There was some comic someone put out today. That's the other thing I love about Valentine's, all the great memes that people put out of the 2 kids with the spaghetti, and they're doing it, and then finally it's just the guy just swallows the girl's head and tries to.
Nice.
So she's just neck.
Oh.
I know the Kirby young romance. It's definitely old and has withered a bit, but I gotta admit, it's also really fun to read out loud.
That was a trip. We should just do a radio show where it's just. I mean, that will probably cover infringement, but we'll get around it.
So this is the kind of thing that they would have cracked down on post-code, because it's called Boy Crazy.
Oh yeah, Boy Crazy.
The story of a girl who learned her lesson through heartbreak.
Yikes.
And you expect it to be very like, but there's a weird amount of like, okay, judge for yourself. So here she's introducing the story in her own speech bubble.
Boy, that hair.
I guess I was jealous of my own aunt. That's why I swore I'd get even with her when she called me Boy Crazy. And we
You know how you do.
Would you read poor aunt here?
I love Clint, Susie. It's my last chance for happiness. I don't want you to stay away from him.
You're too late, Aunt Martha. Clint loves me. But with that setup, like
Aunt Martha, why you getting
No,
all
that,
them
and
boys?
that story does not end well for her in like a very, but in a positive way.
So here's her description. To those who once professed to be my friends and who now condemn me as a wicked, selfish adventuress, an awesome old-fashioned word meaning I have made some mistakes.
I want to be an adventurous.
I am writing this true story of my terrible mistake. This is not written as an apology. In fact, I am not certain but that I would do it all over again had he above given me another chance.
Ooh, she
That
dead
is
now.
why
She
I
ready
ask
from heaven.
no forgiveness, no solace for the ache in my lonely heart. Signed, Susie Burnett.
Man.
So you know some things are going down, and she's sorry, not sorry.
Like that.
It's Susie,
good
Susie Burnett.
foreshadowing.
Her name is Susie Burnett because boy, anything that's blonde is coming out of a bottle in that hair dye. That was a big. I know. I like that's a really good. That story in particular has a really good ring to it, and
wanna
like
read that.
it ends very. It's like it's got a good. It's well built. I don't feel weird. Like I don't feel creepy reading it.
Yeah, I think some of those ended up being like weirdly like cautionary tales for girls to not be wild.
Yes, and this was more of a you know.
Which is why by like the 70s they were all dead because women were going through the sexual revolution and like women were like, I can read about real ass romance like anywhere, literally anywhere else, like on the streets. It's fine. I get it.
So this is a good segue. This is a very good segue. What would be a book that you feel actually has good advice for relationship value? Do you feel that there is such a thing as manga with good relationship advice?
Sometimes, yikes, McGikes.
Or American, but I'm like
Actually, yes, because these are 2 very cute things that came about on the internet recently. There are 2 webcomics. So recently in Japan, webcomics which were just considered like self-publishing, no one even likes you. But now it's very easy to self-publish, very popular to do so. There are 2 series I'd like to talk about. One is, it's in English, it's called Recovery of an MMO Junkie. Don't like that title. The original title was Netojo no Susume, which is kind of like a recommendation of somebody who's on the internet all the time, or a net girl's recommendation. And it's about this girl who's kind of become a hikikomori. Like she always stays in her house and she wasn't, she actually leaves to get like web.
She's a bit of a shut-in.
Yeah, she's kind of a shut-in, but she leaves to buy like web money to get more shit in her MMO game. But all of her friends are in game, and it's about how like she ends up meeting this guy who is, you know what's gonna happen. Like this guy ends up being the friend that she met in the game, and they've been friends for like 8 years, and they talk in the game all the time, so he helps her like get through like a real thing with her life and her job and stuff. And they fall in love, and it's very good.
It's like, oh god, it sounds like a Japanese The Guild on kind of a weird level of.
Yeah, but it's very real. A lot of my friends who play a lot of MMOs, and I just started getting MMOs like recently. They really like it.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Hello, welcome. Using chat is very hard. Voice chat's the worst. But in this reality, voice chat's very easy to understand and good. And the characters act out all the voices. But it's really cute because it shows like, it's a real thing where this woman is she's an adult, so she's like 25 or something, and she's in a job and she just feels like it's empty and she doesn't know why she's there, and she's afraid of quitting, and then her friend on the internet helps her talk her through like, well, what do you want in life? Like what's important to you? So, and then when they get together, it's a very adult thing where they're both adults and they could just like hook up, but they're like, I'm afraid of messing up the friendship. And for me, that was more real. And then they were, concerned about, how their relationship might affect others too. And that's a more like adult situation, like a real ass relationship. So that's very cute. And that was recently made into an anime that aired on Crunchyroll in 2017, last winter. Oh my God. And then another series that's very similar to it is, it's been shortened to Otakoi, but the full name is Otaku ni koi wa muzukashii. Love is hard for an otaku. And it's about a girl who is a full-on fujoshi, which means she likes boys love comics, and there's nothing wrong with that.
She likes specifically for our by the way, we will, if you want to start putting in suggestions for our 5-minute topic at the end of the show, please feel free to start putting those down. But for those who don't know, that's comics about boys, very pretty boys, loving very pretty boys, and it is written for women, who are called fujoshi. So anyway, she's just like basically an otaku, like she just loves comics, and I think and then she hides it though. She's also an adult working woman, working in an office building, and she's always like hiding her comics or being like, oh, like if you're like, hey, want to go get a drink? She's like, oh, I have to go help my mom with something, and she's really going to the anime stores to get like new comics or whatever, and she ends up in her office seeing this guy who looks really familiar, and it's her friend from elementary or high school, I think it was high school, and they all used to be in like an anime club together. So she sees him and is like, I wonder if he still is in that stuff, but I'm too embarrassed to bring it up. And then like eventually they find out that the guy is still a crazy game, like all he cares about is games, and they end up hooking up. And then it's the same thing where their outside friends are kind of also otaku in different ways. Aww. And how they all kind of deal with their nerdiness and being an adults and having a functioning relationship. And it's very cute. To me, it's a very real description of how nerds like us like meet. We don't sit around talking about anime all the time, but like that's a lot of it. Like, there's an awful lot. Yeah, or like our nights are better spent at home playing games together than going out and partying, whatever that is. So it's very good. Otakaku Nikoi wa Mizukashii you can find it's a webcomic, so it's online in Japanese, and it's free. So this is not like but someone's also scanlated it, so you can find it. Just Google it. What is scanlation? What is scanlation? Scanlation is when someone scans a comic and translates it at the same time. Oh, it's very nice. Sort of a fan supplied translation for ease of reading, especially unlicensed. They're a little piratey, but we occasionally will turn a blind eye to this because there's no other way to get these two series in particular are on the net for free already in Japanese. It's just that someone's translated it. I think they are getting picked up to be released, but I don't know by who, and it's not been announced. Oh yeah, and the Love is Hard for an Otaku one that I was just talking about is coming out with an anime in next April on Amazon Prime. How would you compare it in terms of something like, I'm trying to think of another like heavy otaku life, like Princess a Princess Jellyfish? In terms of like the description of love. Jellyfish, I know, is a little broader. Yeah, and Love is Hard Otaku, it's more like they meet and they're automatically a couple. I think they just kind of there's only like it's in the first volume they get together. So it's more like this is more about like adults who are otaku having a relationship than anything. I feel like Princess Jellyfish is about like it's hard to figure out what that manga is about because like I got caught up recently and it becomes about like how the fashion industry is evil and it's not about romance anymore. It's really it gets roll off the rails. That's awesome. It's kind of unfortunate because the first bit of it, the one they made an anime about, is all really cute. It's about self-discovery. It's kind of about love. It's about self-identity, certainly. Yeah. Like, and a lot about who you are. Self-confidence, growing up, not having anyone to support you, finding a support group in your friends. Very good stuff. And you keep reading it, and it's like, we took her to Thailand to learn how to make clothes, and then I didn't get that far. It's a little. It's college years. They basically try to convince her that like making nice clothes is not where it's at. You have to make like white press shirts like Uniqlo because that's how you make money. And they talk about how like the waste of the fashion industry, and it's like not about any like. I was like, how did they get there from Princess Jellyfish? It's because it kept going, and they were like, I guess I gotta write about something. So I don't really like where it evolved to, but it started out real cute.
and the
the
anime
beginning
is very cute.
The anime is very cute, and the beginning of that is there to read also. Once
Yeah,
it, like,
and there is a live action movie that's a little weird, and they're doing
they did a live action.
They did a live
Princess
action movie
Jellyfish?
already. That was 3 or 4 years ago,
What?
and then next year they're releasing a TV series that's live action.
How do you even know this? I don't know any of this. I'm a bad fan.
Be on the internet all the time.
I'm a bad
Why is it called
fan.
Princess Jellyfish?
Oh boy.
I realize that's not even a question. I'm just curious if there's.
Basically, all of the characters in this, it's actually very Maze Nikoku. Do you know much about, or are you just having me
Princess
explain?
Jellyfish?
Yeah.
I literally don't know. I'm not.
Oh,
this is
no.
not one of those times
So-
where I'm like, please explain for the audience. This is me going.
So
what?
Princess Jellyfish actually has a lot in common with Maze Nikoku. It's a apartment complex of students who are they're all fangirls. They're really, really intense, but like fangirls about something. They're all like uber fans about things. And there's one girl who's really into jellyfish, like obsessive, deeply dreams of jellyfish. She is a jellyfish girl, and basically it is a hijinks book. They sort of end up meeting this woman. I'm trying to remember exactly how the meet.
Cross-dressing guy.
This cross-dressing guy who's he's a cross-dresser who's the son of a kind of a wealthy.
Like the son of the brother of the prime minister, I think.
Yeah, and kind of needs a place to hide out and be herself, and sort of joins the collective, and hilarity ensues. Is the best I can.
Yeah, and it's kind of a love story about those two. Kind of, it's more about like how he gives her. He gives the main character, the Princess Jellyfish, like the courage to like start to do things by herself, to not be afraid to go outside. The whole group of them, the house she lives in, is like one's an otaku about Chinese history, one's an otaku about trains, one's an otaku about kimono. I think there's just the 3 of them, and then one's among artists who never leaves her room, so they just like give her food. You never see her; they just give her food, and then they have to learn how to like stop being just about their hobbies and be about like each other, because someone's threatening to tear down the building they live in. So it's like it's about being who you are, but not letting that stop you and be a hindrance, or letting you think that that's a hindrance for you to enter society, because it's not. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, and like becoming external, and it's very
It's okay to be a nerd.
It's an anime and manga I have a weird lot of love for. Like there was something, and it became very popular out here because of the opening of the anime. Like really struck a lot of people's imaginations. Which is the opening of the anime is all of the girls living out some big broad otaku fantasy. So they like literally there's like sections where they're in the Millennium Falcon fighting the Death Star, and then there's like I'm trying to remember like what like the hard boiled. There's like a they go through various like famous movies where they've cast themselves as the characters in these famous movies. I think there's like a Singing in the Rain bit in there where she's swinging around in the.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it so long.
Yeah, there's the fight on top of the train. And like they're just being like, it's like just dumb nerdy things that they've cast themselves into in this kind of spectacular way. And the character designs are very, they're cute but non-conventional, I suppose would be the best way to put it. All the girls have a look, and they're not what I was certainly not what I was used to seeing in my manga.
Yeah, they're like, I think they're drawn to be like goofy, like chibi characters basically. Like they're all drawn like at half size.
Yeah, they're very, very goofy. They're given interesting proportions, which is, and especially since there's so much, a lot of especially the shoujo books are so lithe. There's a fashion line that definitely runs through a lot of manga. I find where there's.
Yeah.
I blame Clump. I'm sure it goes further back, but.
Yeah. You mean Clamp? Yeah.
Yeah, they
the evil mistresses of my heart.
They
so many unfinished series. I was googling it the other day because someone was like, "What did you like the Clamp made?" And I was like, "I like this, but they never finished it." Wait, they never finished
It's a manga collective.
Wait,
for those of you
they never finished. So they made Magic Knights of Earth. They made Cardcaptor Sakura. They made friggin' Tokyo Babylon. How dare you never finish that? They never finished Clover. They never finished.
Miyuki-chan.
Yeah, Miyuki-chan
Wonderland. Oh man, what was it?
They did so much.
Tsubasa Chronicles.
Chobit. I hate Tsubasa. XXX Holic. How dare you, sir? How dare you take all? So Tsubasa Chronicles, Reservoir Chronicles. Again,
Okay. Are we really quickly going to go through
real
Tsubasa
quick?
Chronicles?
They take all the very popular characters from their old series, put them in a new universe, and then like shit all over them. They would never let anyone be happy. That's like the basis of the story. The end. Don't read it. It's making me sad. Just
I had way back in the day. I had the two X posters of the two teams in the fashion red and fashion blue in the like. It was just all the characters from like the two groups,
Wearing like military uniforms.
wearing like really over stylized black leather military uniforms, just posing in rubble.
And that's from which one?
X,
Okay.
which is.
Isn't it like X 1999?
Yeah, well, there was. Yeah, it was. I mean, like, there depends on which version, because you know. But like, it was very over fashioned, and it was like super powered characters fighting for reasons.
Sure.
Saving the world
from
angst,
things.
from being sad. No, I
Yeah,
don't fucking know.
no one knows. Saving the world from like poor fashion choices, because everyone like, and I remember I had those both framed in my office, and like every now and then, like one of our costume designer friends, Jenny Newman, would come in and be like, "Yeah, challenge accepted. Okay," and just leave and go back to her.
Oh, they did Chobits.
Oh, Chobits.
Sorry,
We
guys.
read that in class. Me and our teacher was sort of like, because he was on a whole thing about sort of basically the question of like, can you reclaim things, or sort of this notion of like, are you
Chobits.
doing it ironically or are you just doing it? And he, like devilish college professor that he was sort of like, I don't know, read it and decide for yourself. Like, are they ironically reclaiming these tropes, or are they just doing these tropes?
I think they were just doing them.
I think they were
just like, yo, we got 5 minutes to not write our other manga. Let's do this one instead. We'll finish this one because it's kind of.
This.
Oh, by the way, she got a twin sister.
Right in this
hey,
office
where's her
sheet.
on button? Where's Cheese on button? Clamp, you telling me? I'm so mad about this still. Jesus, it's been years.
I'm in the
I mean,
dub
I
of
liked
that.
it. I cosplayed.
I'm gonna full out admit that I'm in the dub of that.
Let's not. Which one are you?
I'm like I'm one of the creepy nerds that comes into the store to buy things. Like I'm a creepy nerd.
That's amazing.
I'm
Very good.
it was really like
Is it a Chobit part?
Oh, is it Cho?
I had that coming. I deserve that. Yeah.
Oh, what was the bit part of it? Was it that bit her bits?
There was definitely no bits in
We're getting
that.
into not PG-13 territory here now, y'all.
Speaking of which, is it time to start go? Well, let's actually here hand me my
Yes.
tablet of crazy.
We have so much. We've also gotten a million great questions, some of which we will try to. I love the Tuna-san said, question, Patsy Walker. But we're going to save that probably for a whole nother
Answer,
episode.
night nurse. So, no, that's a whole. And I was thinking about and I was going to do a little bit of a climb because slowly America started to reclaim some of their relationship books with the indie world. We had things like Love and Rockets.
Yes.
And
Started in the early 80s. They wrote about a wide variety of material, but including some slice of life stuff set in basically the LA punk scene, the Chicana punk scene of the early 80s.
LA 80s punk scene was a thing. I mean, like I only got the tail end of the 90s, the late 90s of it, but it was a thing to behold.
And there's and so it's Love and Rockets is written and drawn by two brothers who basically do separate stories, but they would often publish and continue to, where like, here's a Jaime story, here's a Gilbert story, here's a Jaime story, here's a Gilbert story, and a lot of them would over time develop these connected casts and worlds. Gilbert would set a bunch of his in a fictional Central American town called Palomar. So I was introduced to Love and Rockets via I love Jaime's art. I actually slightly edge it, but the one I fell in love with when I started reading them was reading Gilbert's Heartbreak Soup, which is a collection of the Palomar stories, which have a wide range of material, but like they're just, you will get so involved in these people's lives. Warning, Heartbreak.
It's deeply punk, which is hard to find. There's not a lot that's deeply punk. I will go into.
I literally just got excited and started shouting because you said Love and Rockets.
No, I mean, like, and I was glad you did, because like I was trying to figure out how to encapsulate it, and it's especially because it was so interconnected to my experience of the LA music scene of that time, which was a very vibrant, intense, and emotional reality. And if anyone ever wants to go and like delve into like some of Henry Rollins' stories about his youth as part of the LA punk scene, it's really fascinating. It's also a story that's being talked about quite a bit, because. Not that I want to bring too much of the real world back in here, but there was a big thing in punk at the time where it was kind of being invaded by a lot of negativity and negative people, and LA was sort of famous as being like the LA scene was this like wall where we're like, nope, we're having fun, oh fuck, and kind of managed to keep it kind of an open environment, and it was only having the normal punk problems as opposed to the larger, wider ones. Henry Rollins worth looking up. Slowly creeping up in weirdness. I'm gonna just do a shout out for Kill Your Boyfriend. Since we're slowly.
What's that about? I don't know what that is.
Kill Your Boyfriend. I think I put. Yeah, there we are. Look at that. It is. I will
look at that
say
art. It's
it is
great,
a
yeah. Philip
single book. That's all there is to it. It's pretty cheap on Comixology right now, if I recall. I already owned it, so I don't.
So
really
Vertigo, mid-90s? When was this?
Vertigo. I can hit a button and find out. That's part of the joy of this little device.
The internet.
So I hit the button. I hit the info. 95.
95. Drawn by Philip Bond, written by It's Your Boy, Grant Morrison.
By my boy, Grant Morrison. It's a retelling of the Bacchus myth, more or less, as a 90s British schoolgirl, where she's in this kind of loveless, awful, like kind of dull relationship with this kind of this boy in school who's not, he's not bad, he's just nothing. And his nothingness is starting to poison her. And along comes this mess of a guy who's a criminal and a drunk and a druggie, and basically just goes, here, why don't we're going to shoot your boyfriend and go on a mad rampage and do whatever we want. And they basically have this very intense rampage through England, including little chunks of Grant Morrison's youth and pop culture that he was like, those bastards were awful. I'm just going to make sure that these two characters come in, steal all their shit, and then kill them. And so it is very true romance in that sense, and it sort of ends in a giant catastrophe. But it's kind of a fun, weird, beautiful. It's like a little cute one-issue love poem for truly broken people who, love is perfectly possible when you're truly broken, and it ends with more murder.
Yay.
It doesn't sound like it would work, but you'd be surprised.
It's weirdly cute, and her narrative voice, the lead character's narrative voice is really, I find, bright, and I really am invested. She turns to the camera a lot, she breaks the wall a lot, and really has a lot to say about why she's making the decision she's making. And like, I'm going to do all of this stupid stuff. And like, really? And here's why. And kind of takes you on this journey of just disaster. It's brilliant. Before I have one more that I have in the line before the final, which is Strangers in Paradise.
Yay!
So does anybody want to say anything about our Strangers in Paradise?
It has one of the best, the pocket editions of Strangers in Paradise have one of the
that's
best pull quotes of all time. Which is like, it's weird to memorize a pull quote, but I've got to remember who said it. It might have been Gaiman, but on the back of volume 1 of like the small edition of Strangers in Paradise, it says, "What some people don't know about love and romance could fill a book. Strangers in Paradise is that book."
Oh God!
Awesome.
Francine and
Kachu.
Man, they remind me of every girl I knew growing up in
So,
LA.
they remind you of every girl in the world because they're
man.
human beings,
They are.
which you don't get in comics all the time.
No, they are beautiful,
look at
flawed, flawed. Yeah, look at that. Look at
Yikes.
those.
Remember those other characters on the side? Yikes.
We remember that it got real weird at the end.
So it's written and drawn by Terry Moore. It's actually got a revival going on right now. That is an issue in, maybe 2 issues in. Terry Moore. Comes out of the early '90s. A new flowering of the indie scene, largely black and white, self-published sometimes, at other publishers sometimes. But it tells, you can say, it starts out very slice of life, and it gets with a lot of weird sort of crime and other elements in there, but it never really stops being about these deeply human, a few central characters as they drift in and out of each other's lives, and like
deal
just
with sexuality and deal with dating and deal with bad decisions and alcoholism and anger and oh, it's such a beautiful, and the art is so stunning, and I went back.
The love in that book is so real, like
It's I mean, for the time it came out too, to see women portrayed like kind of as they are, and even like just like the first chapter, you get just a great feeling, like a warm, familiar feeling of this is a very normal problem. You wake up and you're like just putting on your stupid pantyhose and you're like wandering around your bra looking for the rest of your clothes, and you're like, God damn it, I'm trying to get out of the house but I can't do it. Where's all my shit? Like just the little stuff, like especially for a man to write this, honestly, like I just because I read it again just recently.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, he really nailed like
know.
all that
Tell
shit.
me more. How do you know all this?
Did he have a lot of sisters, maybe?
Again, it's an outsider's perspective, but like they definitely they feel real, and I immediately like just staring at it. I immediately start identifying with people I've
Yeah.
spent years with. It's
Like in the first chapter, they're already like Kachu like contradicts herself a lot already. Like, and as the reader, you're not like, hey, is this bad writing? You're like, oh, it's because like there's something very serious going on that they're probably gonna get to real soon. And it's just it's a great.
she's
it's a
made
great-
of issue. She is just
Yeah.
like
And you have
Kachu at
this
the
basic
beginning.
dynamic with Francine and Kachu where, like, Francine always feels sort of fat and unattractive, and Kachu is, like, worships her
Yeah.
as initially sort of in a best friend capacity, but you
There's
immediately,
obviously-
you have questions very quickly about that, and then Francine has a habit of getting into terrible relationships,
Truly
and Kachu has some reasons for staying out of relationships, and then a boy named David enters the picture,
Yikes.
and everybody's trying not to hurt each other, and everybody's
Yeah,
failing at
yeah,
it,
yeah,
and
yeah.
like,
Yeah, David's a mess, man. I'm watching him walk in. I'm like, oh, honey bear.
walk
oh,
backwards out of this house, sir.
Walk,
oh, you poor
walk
thing.
away. Walk away now.
That is so real though. Like what human hasn't done that kind of shit to themselves?
Oh yeah, you meet a Kachu and you're like, I'm in. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, that's a bad. Oh,
Charisma
no.
will get you. We'll track to the dangers.
The number of people that I see reflected in this book, and like even back then, and including now, I'm like staring at it, and I'm like in my head, I'm casting it. I'm like, oh, I know, like I'm already like having that
Did they
moment
ever
of
option
like,
it for a movie? I kind of hope
how
not.
have they? I mean, like,
I feel like there were recent discussions of
Yeah.
them optioning it, but like in a TV capacity, which could potentially work. But
I'm like
And-
Riverdale.
well, like,
I mean, it is kind of spy-y.
it's
gets there.
it's so much. Well, like the thing that I love about Riverdale is trash. I mean, and I say that but I say that out of love. I love trash. But like Riverdale knows that it is and refines the process and really just gives you this. I mean, like it's supposed to be trashy and pulpy. That's what it is. It's what it wants to be. This is not trashy and pulpy. This is
Human.
Yeah, this has been mined out of the air. And like Francine especially, there's something to be said about the character design of Francine that they managed to convey a very unconventional body type that is still just
Is it?
it's a very conventional body type.
Yeah.
this is my point is for this though,
Yeah.
like for like this
medium.
is how it's not
It
Riverdale.
is a revolutionary commitment to reality. It's a little weird.
and every angle that he draws her in is stunning. And it is just one of those characters where you're like, this is amazing and it's real. This is like watching a European film from 1984. I don't know how this is happening.
I like that they.
Everyone wants to know what's on your hand, by the way.
Oh, this is the thing from a club that will not wash off.
Hey, kids, have you ever been? You know that time you went to that club and yet that thing wouldn't wash off? Watch out! Your parents are gonna see that. In the morning.
I was going to say a man, but it was dark and I didn't have a long enough conversation. It could have been. I have no idea of the gender
Someone.
of this person
Good
with
eyes,
like
guys.
3 feet of hair. And I say that, and I'm like, no, like whoop, like all the way up did this to me, and I was just so stunned by the hair that I didn't even understand what was happening.
And they were like, you'll never wear my brand.
You've been mocked for life, kiddo.
Basically, it was and a good time was had by all.
Oh, but anyway, I like how they start that first issue with like, hey, these are some like it starts like as a like she's having a dream about sexy comic book characters. They're drawn, like that Jim Lee style.
well, they-
like that Gen 13 Jim Lee style.
They don't even let actresses look like this anymore. Like it's just so it
Yeah, and then they flip back to a
and
natural
I'm
body
so
type. Yeah.
it's frustrating. Like it is like reading it, you're so into it, and it's so frustrating that I wouldn't even know who to cast in that part other than people I work with.
You know, there's something to be said about casting normal people. It's cool.
When it happens, it is great.
And we're not skinny shaming.
No.
Skinny bodies are also normal, but like this something you read Strangers in Paradise and you're like, why doesn't
This-
everything else look like
This shouldn't feel revolutionary
Yeah.
anymore. It's been like 20 years. Why am I still going, what?
You could look at you could say the average body type, and like there's the scene where she goes to the gym and she gets measured, and I'm like,
Well, and she's
I'm like, all right.
so much of the book is about her shame about it.
Yeah,
and-
even though she's not actually like overweight or anything.
No, but and like the art is always so careful to make sure that it's never failing to portray her, but at the same time you're constantly want to argue with her. Like,
Especially
no.
since
She
you're
lives in her
frequently
head.
You're
seeing
gorgeous.
through other people's eyes, like, and when you see her through Kachu's eyes, especially, you're like, you are a goddess.
Like I mean, like even finding like David's first line with looking for her is she's unconscious. He's like, oh my God, she's beautiful. Who is it? And like, he's
Not
just
in a
like,
creepy
yeah,
way.
not in a creepy way. Of just like, what? You know, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
But it's a good book. If you want to get into that real inside your brain stuff about feelings and relationships and fucking up and growing up, it's good. It's good stuff.
So the last one before I shut up, finally, because I thank you. Yeah, I know. High five. Thank you.
I'm just kidding, Dallen. Please
Oh no,
talk.
I take it.
No, I
That's
was
cool.
interested to hear you talk about the
Have you read this book at all?
I read
or?
the first, maybe it was the 2 chapters because you mentioned you were talking about it, and I was like, I'd never heard of that, so I
have been needing to read this for so long.
Oh,
I have heard a million recommendations. I am very, very excited to get into this, and I'm just building up the suspense. What are we talking about?
So we're talking about Sunstone. Literally, there were people out in the office like, "You talking about Sunstone today?" I'm like, "Yep," and they're like, "Okay."
Stardust in Her Eye says, question, do you have any gay love stories? Hold out bowl like Oliver Twist.
More?
What now?
Took
This
me a
was a
second.
while ago, but I did want to read that
I mean, like a
question.
lot of the ones we've
From
mentioned
Alpha,
do have, especially the Japanese, do not shy away from that. Although, it's not necessarily going to give you what you want because their problems and normalizations are a little different. Yeah, this is a this is a story. This is a story about 2 women who are.
Did you see the title yet?
Sunstone. Yeah,
There we go.
Sunstone.
I'm not sure.
and I'm terrible at trying to pronounce
Stefan
it.
Siedzic?
I think that's right. I feel so bad because I'm so impressed. This started as a web comic, and it kind of went out of control. And I was such a fan of the art that he was producing, and like some of his like the playfulness of the characters that he was drawing. They're gorgeous, stunning, and a lot of fetish work that's just magical. So this is a story of 2 women who are deeply unfulfilled with where they are in their life and not having a good time. They, for whatever reason, are feeling this kind of gaping hole in their life of some kind. And through basically an internet chat, end up meeting and getting into a lesbian S&M relationship. They basically get a sub-dom relationship together. And it's, I was trying to, this was me hunting for art that wasn't too scandalous because there's nudity and sex in this book. I'm like
Absolutely
warning you.
content. I just, this has been amazing as a retailer because I've watched it sort of as a publishing phenomena and overwhelmingly bought and recommended by women coming into my shop being like, I need this. It is the best love story. So it comes with.
It is an amazing love story. It is the, and make of this what you will, my expertise in this direction one way or another, the best representation of these kind of people and this lifestyle. And the other thing it does that's really remarkable is normally in these books I feel a sway towards better written women or better written men, or better written gay men or better written gay women, of like somewhere where you can feel the author really gravitating towards what they know and sometimes just leaving, like the boys and strangers in Paradise, in my opinion, are often one-dimensional. I mean, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But often there are very quick sketches, unless they need to be more. And even sometimes when they're more, their depth is not as apparent until a lot later. Every character has an interesting depth in this, and like while they're never necessarily as challenged as they are in things like Love and Rockets and Strangers in Paradise, where the stakes are never quite as high. They are complete, interesting, charismatic people who have problems, who are playful, who love each other, and it shows a modern relationship dynamics that are just normally not represented anywhere, let alone a comic book, very thoroughly. And if you're looking, if you're one of those people who's felt that like your dynamic has never really been represented at all, let alone positively, this is all, again, and sex and nudity. There's nothing like this. Just nothing like this has ever really been done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot about it, to be very honest, but the S&M portion of it. So you recommended it, so I started reading it, and I was really drawn in by just, it's not just like, here's something people have in sex that's weird. It was just, that's like what it's portrayed as usually. I'm not gonna do that song.
Oh no,
That's the theme
please.
song. That's official.
That's a GIF. That's a GIF right there.
No, chat, do not clip that. But anyway, but it starts with these two. You start with these two women and their problems in their individual lives, and you see them talking. Like it's all character building. It's all character building. They do eventually meet, and then it's the the sexy stuff does have the sexy stuff happen. But like before that, you're very invested in like them being happy, or if it's you're like, how is this gonna work out? You just get invested in the story because it's an actual story. It's not just like it's not on display like for people to like jerk off to. It's like, no, these are real people with like real wants and desires that does affect their life. So I really liked it. I think I felt very interested.
And like literally page 3, like by page 3 is there's like just art of I think it's just Lisa just having like what is obviously the least interesting sex on earth, like and just deeply unhappy. And just watching these characters come together, and like it takes like 6 pages before you can tell that it's already an adorable crush, and it very quickly becomes so much more. And it is stunning art. It is stunning every
it's like
page.
I don't know what that style is called, but it's like when they draw a little bit, then they just spend a lot of time paint like digital painting, and every single panel is
and there's just like these like I know I don't even know if we can get this on camera or not.
This is
but
a
like
friggin' webcomic.
look at it's a webcomic, and like look at the posture on the in the center panel, just like the couch roll.
Yeah.
Like when does that ever happen?
And you guys could like Google it. Also, it's on the internet.
Oh yeah, I mean like it's
like it's so good.
There's like 4. There's like 2 huge omnibuses right now, and like it's a lot of fun. And if you're looking for something very adult and very mature, it is very adult and very mature in all of the right ways.
Speaking of which, when we were prepping this, I didn't even think to put things like sex criminals on the list.
Yeah, oh man, I thought about that.
One of my favorite love stories. Have you read this one? No. It's an Image comic from the last couple years with like, I was gonna say the most bonkers concept, but we've been talking about
pretty bonkers.
So, it's fairly bonkers though. It is a mature reader's book, but it's not primarily erotic. It just deals with a lot of this content. It's written by Matt Fraction and drawn by Chip Zdarsky. They can collaborate. They created the book together, and the basic idea is that there are a few individuals who, as a weird byproduct of orgasm, stop time.
Cool.
So part of it is like the two people with this sort of circumstance in common find each other. And then realize they're not alone. And they literally commit crimes.
Yeah,
That's very good.
They go into the bathrooms of banks, have sex, then rob the banks.
That's very good.
Because she works at a library, and the library is being foreclosed on, and they're like, they kind of go on this like weird little Bonnie and Clyde thing. But the funny thing is,
because the 2 of them walk around while time is frozen. That's how they find out. Is normally after sex, the person they just had sex with is frozen in time, and they're like kind of left, and they're like, and like they have the freak out moment when they're both.
Like, you can see me and I can see you. But what's so interesting about this book is that like it's a bonkers high concept sci-fi book that involves robbing banks, but it's also one of the best looks at sexuality and real emotional issues and relationship stuff that I've ever read.
It's so
like
good.
The first issue breaks down adolescent female sexuality in a way that Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky, again, how do you know these things? But like,
so yeah.
So because part of it is sort of, discovering things about yourself, and for them especially, they're sort of like, I wonder if it's like this for everyone, and in their case, it isn't. But all this question of like, there's no one to answer your questions. How does anything work? What does it mean? What's supposed to be happening? What's not supposed to be happening? Like, where are you getting your information?
It's so good.
And then, so by the time that you get into these sort of like, he needs to see a therapist because he's mistreating people around him and all this stuff, like you're just so deeply invested. And meanwhile, you also have this crazy high concept comedy stuff that's occasionally happening. It's
sexy crime.
It's an incredible and very strange book.
That's very good. I don't know why I'm so giggling. It's just,
because it's a book called Sex Criminals.
Name the thing it does. I'm like, that's great.
They literally, it's so dumb that they literally had a cover of the book that was just the creators like awkward posing.
They did like a weird Sears photo.
Yeah.
And then Two Valkyries, which is an organization of female comics retailers, posed with the cover like that. And then eventually Chip and Matt did a picture of them holding the picture of Juliet and the.
So it's like an Ouroboros. It's just eating its own tail.
Forever and ever. It was the best running gag for
Oh,
ages.
I'll have to read that because it's just the goddamn
It's
title.
really good. It's but yeah. So that was my long road to get our poor audience to Sunstone, where they're man, it is a sexy book, and Sex Criminals is a sexy book.
Although it was great because, like, pretty early on, one of the things that, like, in the letters column, somebody pretty early on wrote in sort of being like, that sex scene wasn't even hot. I couldn't see her boobs. And they were just like, it's not that kind of book. It was just like, they were just like, that's not what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because, like, that has sort of creating this kind of safe storytelling environment where they're like, here's the stuff we're interested in, here's what we're not setting out to do. Like, they started answering asking people's real stories in the letters column. The letters columns got so interesting, they collected them separately as a little book called Just the Tips.
No!
You filthy animal.
Oh.
They're the worst.
Yeah.
Bad jokes are
good.
a thing. But like, it's because people were writing in with such interesting sort of dilemmas and questions and like.
That's
they really
terrible.
did that.
That's great.
Did that.
That's great.
That's terrible.
So the reason I said you filthy animal was because it was filthy, because I have a friend who, when he was really drunk once, he was trying to quote that line from Home Alone. Was it leave the tip, you filthy animal, or something? And he thought it was just the tip, you filthy animal. So now we just say no. We always say just the tip, you filthy animal.
Please tell me that was Sean. Was that Sean?
No, it's a friend in Portland. You don't
Okay,
know
never
him.
mind. I was really hoping I could embarrass someone on camera. That would have made me really happy.
Everything else is Sean though. But anyway. Well, that sounds amazing. I'll have to check it out.
It's really, really good.
Can I take a radical left turn into a couple of things that are brand new?
Let's be radical, dude.
Radical into the brand new.
Because this is extremely safe for work and safe for home and safe for everything except your feelings.
Oh.
I have a new answer to what was the last comic that made you cry, and it was last
Bingo
night.
Love.
Oh no! Is
When
this
I
like an
was
up
supposed to be
scenario?
working.
So see, they got old. In the end, they were young and now they're old.
So here's the thing.
Oh no.
If it's 1963 and you just met the love of your life, you do not have an easy road
Oh no.
ahead of you.
Oh no.
But that might not be the end of your story. This was written by T. Franklin, illustrated by Jen St. I don't know how to say your name. St. Ange? O-N-G-E. With Joy San, I'm guessing, doing colors. And it has just come out. It's called Bingo Love, and it tells the story of these two cutie pies.
Oh my God.
Who met in the wrong place and the wrong time.
Aww.
But there might be some some no spoilers reasons to be real excited about
I was
this book.
eyeing
Anything
that
else
on
is
Comixology
spoilers.
today. I was definitely eyeing that on Comixology today, going.
Oh,
putting
so
it in my
that's
little
new.
wish
Like it
list.
just came out.
This is literally out today,
Okay, cool.
and actually, I think selling out everywhere. It's a
wow.
really beautiful story because I follow these creators online. They've done a ton of really interesting writing and work in separate places.
Do some stuff for Love Is Love, if I recall.
I believe they
or
did.
That's where I got the recommendation.
This is one of those books where it was sort of like, I don't know, will anyone turn up for something like this? It is freaking sold out in advance, second printing on the way.
Damn.
It is a
Cute.
beautiful and really, 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 really special story.
Well, is only one, or is there gonna be more than that?
I'm a little mad at it because I was reading this and there's a couple of points where like a thing happens and they're like, you can see more in such and such story online. So I immediately had mixed feelings where I was like, why are you depriving me of the rest of this story? But also I will be buying and reading anything else that goes with it, and I'm very excited because I have two
So
more
it's like part of the
stories to read.
universe that exists.
So far, at least.
Cool,
I don't
cool.
know how much they're planning. Like, this tells a complete story, but there are two more little pieces that I get to read as soon as I can justify
Okay,
spending
that's
some
getting
time.
purchased when I get home. That's
One of the
okay.
shorts is by Marguerite Bennett, which I'm really excited for. She's a super rad writer who we should also be talking about because she writes a lot of fantastic romantic
Aw,
stuff.
That looks great.
And a lot of gay romance from Marguerite Bennett. So Bingo Love,
Bingo
highest
Love.
recommendation.
Bingo Love.
This came out today.
Yep.
It is called The Secret Loves of Geeks, which is basically like...
Oh, hello, soldier. With all the cats.
Yeah.
No, it's about geeks because there's lots of cats.
Yep.
Just so you guys know, for record, I'm not cheating on my dog. It's a dog. I have a dog. I'm in love with the dog. It's fine. Keep going.
You're not cheating on your...
I talk about cats all the time. We're like, oh, you must have a lot of cats. I'm like, I have a dog. and I have the aunt to many cats. Anyway, sorry.
So there was an earlier volume, fabulously
She's
crowdfunded.
watching. I don't want her feelings to be hurt.
I love it. Disclaimer: one true love, dog. So this is the follow-up to the, as they described, smash hit book that was crowdfunded spectacularly, The Secret Loves of Geek Girls, which is one of my favorite books from the last
I've
couple
heard of
years.
that,
It's a mix of prose and comics from just an unbelievable range of collaborators, but it's all people telling like just a huge range of short stories, either drawn from their own experience or inspired by their own experiences, and they followed up Secret Loves of Geek Girls with just plain Secret Loves of Geeks. So all across the gender spectrum, and all kinds of different styles and
Oh man.
Hot.
You get that slice of life. You get it.
yeah, I'm really
Slice of life is like by and far my favorite genre. Like, I mean, I love high fantasy, but like, goddamn, like slice of life. Gets
No,
me.
it's and like I'm glad we're starting to get back into it over here. I mean, because I used to have to go to every other country on earth to get my slice of life comics. This is
But now people are like, I like reading stories in a different medium about what I know about. Because guys, comics and animation are mediums for storytelling. They are not genres, so like, it's okay if they tell different kinds of stories. And I hate when I've had fights with people be like, I don't like anime. And I'm like, what did you watch? What did you watch? Huh? You want to talk about it?
it's like saying I don't like books. Like
I don't like movies across the board, all of them. I
Music,
hate visual
not
mediums.
into it.
sit down. We're watching back Mongolian Chop Squad.
So guys,
Sit
we
down,
are
love
trying
it.
to tell you that there's some normal stuff.
Back Mongolian Chop Squad, another good manga, but not romantic. Oh, a little romantic, but that's okay.
Last shout outs. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but last week we got Young Monsters in Love, a DC anthology with a
Holy
cover
shit.
boy Swamp Thing here, which
very
I'm
good.
really excited for. And then there's a weekly thing going on all month called Twisted Romance, which is all these wonderful short stories organized, I think, by Alex Sakhampi. She's a wonderful comics
Holy
writer.
cow, that cover.
Not art. Holy shit.
Just
Holy cow.
a bunch of really great stuff in these.
Pass one.
Kind of like,
Yeah.
let me touch.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Ah. She looks like not only is she hurt, she's slinging dirt. I'm really into that.
Hurt and slinging dirt.
Hurt and
I would like
slinging
a
dirt.
T-shirt that says that, please. Make it happen, internet.
I want
Does it exist?
my good place shirt. It says like just it says dirty bench because I'm like
Oh man.
Filthy bench.
This is awesome. You guys have such great recommendations. I mean, obviously.
She-
So many good. Thank you for bringing all these titles that I need to look into.
yeah, no, I'm trying to think like do you have any like I was going through your list. You mentioned one and I know that you were like no, it's too weird
no, I
to
can talk about it.
because there's a comic book that I'm a big fan of which is kind of similar to what you're talking about, which is My Faith in Frankie.
I need to read My Faith in Frankie.
My Faith in Frankie, just to give you guys a real quick, we'll give the retort to this, is a book about a girl who's super fun and it's sexy and cool, except that she has this god who is her god, and this god keeps interfering with her ability to have a love life and like manifesting rabbits everywhere, and it's just complicating her life. That like she always wins at games because she has this deity that's just like making things happen. And she's like, knock it off! I'm trying to have a life here. You mentioned something cool.
Yeah, and it's not loading, so we'll have to like give it a googs, y'all. As we say, the title is Colette wa shinu koto ni shita. It means Colette, this girl Colette, experienced death, but it's not because she died. It's because I think she almost dies. But so it's about a girl she kind of like in not modern times. She's learning to be a doctor, an herbalist. She meets a man who is the devil, who takes care of the dead. And they fall in love, and it's very cute. It's not what you think it is. It is a shoujo title. They spend a lot of time. It's basically her being oblivious and just helping him learn how to love life again. Because that's what you do to the devil. Or he might be the god of death. I might be confusing the two for something else. And then because she heals and he takes care of the dead. But then she ends up traveling to like the spirit world to help him with his weird other god problems. And he's like really in love with her, but she's like, we're just friends. I don't get it. And it's very cute, and it's drawn very beautifully. It's got that wonderful, very classic shoujo style, very like frothy. A lot of what do they call that stuff? The texture films.
Oh yeah,
they
like
use.
where it's just like we've got a pattern and we're gonna
Yeah,
pop it
it's
into a
just-
place in a
just
weird
all
geometric
it's
way.
screen tones.
Screen tones.
They like literally cut out like they buy tones and cut them out and put them in, and then they copy it.
I had a friend
Like the olden days.
a friend in high school
What
who
a
showed me how to
scam.
do it. Showed me how to do the paintbrush
tones,
tap
yeah.
and the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
the toothbrush tap 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 tap.
It's very cute, and it's one of those romance, but it's fantasy, and it's manga, so there you go. I was talking about a lot of real life stuff. So that one's That one's a very good, easy read. I don't think it's licensed yet. I don't believe so. It's on that dark internet.
It definitely was a title that made me. Because you brought your paper, and I'm like, oh my god, I have not heard of.
I've got notes, everybody.
She brought no, and like she's like, oh, I'm going to talk about these. I'm like, I used
you
to
have
know.
backup in chat. Steel Neko says Colette decides to die. It's great.
Well, she decides to die. I think
Colette decides to die. It's
Shinukoto nishita. Well, it's like she went under. Nishita. Oh, suru can be to choose also. Okay, yeah, maybe. Yeah. Hi guys. I know Japanese pretty well, but like I don't know all the goddamn kanji. Okay?
I don't think they meant to correct you. I think they're just agreeing that they love it.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, most of these. Wow, these are mostly all real life, no fantasy elements at all.
Well, no, I mean like and that and it's.
Look at me, give it a shot.
No, it's.
Because like obviously like Sailor Moon, but that's not really a love story. It's all friendship.
No, I mean.
Friendship is magic.
And there's part of me that always just feels when it comes to like the love story of Sailor Moon, other than the one real love story of Sailor Moon, which is Neptune and Uranus.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
That's the real love story.
You, bro. I clapped you.
Is definitely that gif of my work here is done, but you didn't do anything. Whoops. And I'm like,
I'm the male. Farewell.
I was like,
I mean, it's very real to life.
I know. It's like, man, Tuxedo Mask, you ain't doing shit, man.
He's emotionally supporting.
But like.
But I like them as a pair because they're sort of both useless. Like,
Yeah.
It's like
he's like, no, but literally I'm too old for you. And she's like, I love you. And meanwhile, I'm a superhero. And he's like, I'm kind of useless.
Yeah.
Like, it's
roses.
Ami got better shit to do. That's all I'm
He
going
has
to say.
like one move in the manga he got that smoking bomber.
Yeah.
He has a bomb he throws sometimes.
Smoke bomb. Yeah.
Tuxedo the smoking bomber. He has a song about it. He has a whole fucking song about it, guys. Google it. It's so dumb.
Oh my
his
god.
His voice actor couldn't sing very well. Oh, so fact. So his original voice actor couldn't sing very well, but they just made him. They had to do all the CD dramas and all the songs. So like he sings a lot. It is not very good, but it's kind of cute. So Tuxedo the smoking bomber song is kind of stupid.
Tuxedo comment. Tuxedo
he
comment.
He has a duet. I can't remember what it's called right now. I'm sure the internet will tell us immediately, but it's it's him and then Usagi Seiyu singing, and it's just like some garbage.
They make you. I will say, like, it's one of the other things is radio dramas is like the CD dramas. Radio dramas are a big thing for a lot of like these. So like they make you do some weird stuff if you're the voice of in a cartoon in Japan.
It's true.
They put you through a ringer.
Yeah.
I got to. Yeah. Well, that's a story for another day. But no, yeah, never mind.
I think we have a winning topic if we want.
Oh my! Is it time to do a winning?
I'm seeing it in here. I'd love a nod from Liz if we're good to go on this.
We could do it now and then still have some time at the end. We could do this kind of early.
I know we usually do it with like 3 seconds to spare.
Oh, okay.
But imagine ending the show like on purpose with time.
Imagine a world. In a world where we have time.
I recognize all the words you said. It's just the order is really throwing me off.
We still have time to mess it up. Don't worry.
I was just coming over.
Aw, blessed.
Do you make a new 15 sign every week?
A new shitty sign, yes.
Yay!
I like them.
long as
It makes me
15
feel loved. It's nice.
There's a graveyard of 15 signs somewhere in the studio.
Ooh, they'll come back as ghosts.
All right. So,
Okay, so
are you ready for our 5-minute question?
Okay.
Today on the Wednesday Club, we have asked you all to give us a 5-minute topic that we will have to collaborate on and answer here. The winning topic comes from Alpha today from Dread Singles, and it is... the Dread Singles.
Oh no! Oh no!
In honor of our Valentine's Day True Romance episode, what 2 characters from very different genres of comics should be shipped into a new romantic series? Details, please.
Do I have to start? Oh no.
Sure. You seem to have volunteered.
Okay, here we go. I would love to see a love story between Cardcaptor Sakura and Krakatoa the Living Island.
Get out here.
Fire,
get out.
No.
Get out.
This is a love that dare not speak its name. I'm going with this because I've committed to it, and it's too late.
You sure have.
No, I think I would love to actually go through like the classical like Sailor Moon. Which one is it's like the S movie? I'm gonna go that direction where like the whole notion of like Cardcaptor actually like creating like some sort of semi-human avatar out of the living island, and like eventually it discovering the true meaning of love and like helping it
How
like
do they
ascend
meet?
to. Well, Well, I mean, like, she has to go all over the place anytime that there's. I know. Yeah. Stop that. You know and love Cardcaptor just as much as the rest of us.
It's hard with my feelings in the way.
I think that she's going to do a tarot card exorcism, and like at the same time it's like also like trying to eat the dark energy that's.
Oh, he was
from
like
the
a
tarot.
Yoma, and he got like
it's
illness.
and then he's freed from it, and then like creates some sort of like Earth Golem version that then they date and like go to a cat. They go to a cat cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about the cat cafe. It's all about just eventually getting to a cat cafe.
I love it. I love it.
That's my desperate attempt.
Very good.
Two characters from very different genres of comics who I think should be shipped into a new romantic series. Ooh.
I can do one real quick.
All right, go it.
Okay, because I'm looking at these fucking Wreck-It Raccoon mugs. Sorry, Wreck-It Raccoon. Sorry, Bradley Cooper. Star-Lord and Sailor Moon. Because Mamoru is kind of useless. Let's just write him out of the story. Sorry, bro. I loved you.
Damn.
But no, check it out. He's in space already. He know that shit. He has seen the stars. He knows he's of a god if you go by the movie.
Sure.
And he understands how actual battle works, right? So he's always like already star blazing. Sailor Moon is fighting beings from space who keep coming to Earth to fuck it up. Eventually, he comes back to visit
She's a
Earth.
guardian. He's a guardian.
They're both exactly.
They're both guardians of the galaxy.
Guardians of that galaxy.
Oh man.
They team up and defeat all the bad shit because she has the power of friendship and he has the power of lots of guns. And it's very good.
And like
the next
that's
hot
great
new
because like
Marvel series.
her standards are all messed up, so she won't mind that he's a trash fire. Oh, okay, I'm into it.
Yeah, and then Luna and Rocket Raccoon can be friends.
Oh!
Yes! It'll be very good. Yes! Nailed it.
Sailor Mercury and the new version of Mantis would totally get along.
That would be really cute. Oh, now I'm just
Very
having the
good.
Sailor Moon Guardians crossover is kind of genius.
Because they're all quite pure and innocent and lovely, and and then the Guardians are
Just
kind of
please
messed
send me
up.
Ray
your
and
art
Gamora.
with
I can,
Sailor
like-
Guardians. Like
Ooh,
that's the
yes.
yeah.
Fan art. Fan art.
We're
Oh
talking
my
to you,
gosh.
Babstar. Okay, sorry.
Oh, that was my friend. I like her.
I love Bab so much.
Shoot, I had an idea and then it vanished from my mind. I feel like this is wildly off. Like, okay,
Bring it.
cannot mess up the central pairing of Ramo and Half.
Whoa.
If I had to,
Oh no.
I think it would be very like, okay, this is a crack ship. This is a crack ship, but Akane from Ramo and Half, if she somehow fell into our universe and met Carolina from the Runaways.
Oh.
They both have like other things going on, so this would have to be strictly like an Elseworlds end of the world scenario. But yeah, Akane really has trouble accepting herself over the course of things, but is also just like super badass and wonderful. And Carolina has had her own journey towards accepting
man.
who she is and being like the glamorous, sparkly, wonderful person that she is. So yes, assuming that you. Like, they're both in high school at different points, so, like, a slightly, like, them post-college meeting up, that's my crack ship.
Wow.
That's cute.
That's really cute. That's really cute.
Runaways.
Oh my God! Now I'm like revisiting mine because I feel like mine was like two Mad Libs, and I was like not really. God, now I'm just
We
like.
both had a
having-
lot of time to think. You had.
Yeah,
like,
no,
a
it's always the
second.
first person who does this
No.
always has a rough time, but that's okay because. I mean, that's the fun of shipping. Is
They're
like
brilliant. Yep.
they're always kind of fun. And it's an interesting way to process that. And at the worst, it just becomes like a tingler. At the worst case scenario.
But in the best case
Google
scenario,
it. Don't Google it at work.
in the best case scenario, those ships sail in the fan art land. Yes.
Far
That's
deep
right,
into
that's
fan art
where we
land.
live.
An archive of our own is waiting.
I'm just making these guys like dab and do face poses. I really like that.
You're a terrible influence, and I like that about you. That was our 5-minute
That was our
topic.
5-minute
Yay.
topic.
Thank you so much for that
Nailed
question,
it.
Dread Singles. I'm Amy Dallen.
I'm Michelle Chubby Bunny.
And I'm Taliesin Jaffe. We will.
Nope.
s-
She was
Nope.
like,
Never mind.
And just our sign off for the 5-minute video in case you're watching this on YouTube or elsewhere. You can find the Wednesday Club on twitch.tv/Geek and Sundry and on Project Alpha Wednesday nights from 7 to 9. But we've got more show.
But we've got more show.
More show for you.
We have 9 minutes of more
Nice.
show.
9
That's
minutes
great.
more
That's
show.
good.
Yes.
We can answer some questions instead of ignoring chat like we've been
Yeah.
doing all day because we've been
What's
like
up,
knee deep in
chit-chatters?
our.
All right. So
We
let's
actually our
see.
fans have a name. Are you ready for this?
What? Oh, what are they?
Wednesdaisies. I'm kidding. It's the cute.
It's the best.
It's good.
Sugar. Are you having sugar poisoning?
What if your show gets moved to a different day?
You will never. See,
Yeah.
this is the thing.
I was
Since
thinking
we
about that.
named it the Wednesday Club, they
We
can't
move
it.
you guys.
This was
It's
all
comics.
plot.
You double down on a business model, whether it makes any sense or not.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, we are.
I'll see you guys
So-
next year when you're on a Thursday Wednesday club.
It'll be even better. We'll just explain it every week.
It'll be the-
Adam
We'll
tonight.
make a
CW
T-shirt
Club.
that says Thursday is the new Wednesday.
Oh, that's very
Axolotl question.
Oh, here we are.
What are your favorite and least favorite romance or anime tropes?
Oh,
good. Anime questions.
I'm bored of harem manga and harem anime.
Ugh.
That was a
Or-
different question, actually. Yeah, somebody asked romance is yay or nay, says Dark Half Elf.
When done
284.
well, they can be. But like the trope is so like the I mean like
It's
even
only funny like twice,
it's only funny twice.
but it's been done 1,000 million times.
It sells, and like a lot of the people who do it are kind of just going through the motions. I
If
find.
people who haven't heard of it,
Okay.
harem anime?
do you want to? Or
Oh,
should-
it's
go
when
ahead.
there's one protagonist of one gender, and then the rest of the opposite gender is in love with the one person who's like, what? But why? Me? Little old me?
And most of the audience is like, really, what? Why?
I will say it's been done well. It's usually, I tend to sometimes enjoy if it's done in the reverse, where it's the girl is the protagonist and the men around her.
Are we going to like host club right now? Are we having a?
We could go to host club when it was Oran High School host club was very, very good and dear to my heart. But also in a newer series, Watashi ga motete dosunda, Kiss Him Not Me is what they translated to, which is not what that translates to. Is
Yeah.
about a girl who her favorite anime character dies, like in the anime, and then she gets really depressed and loses a bunch of weight and like becomes like super hot all of a sudden, goes back to school, and like the 4 hottest guys in school fall in love with her, and it's their journey to become friends because she's like, I'm not even here for that, like I want you guys to make out because I'm a fujoshi. But it's really funny. Like they do all.
So they're all just competing to make out with each other, so that maybe she'll like one of them.
No, it's
That'd be amazing.
complicated, but it's it's a comedy. It's very funny. The anime was just released like 2 years ago. It's very, very funny. Manga is also very good. But anyway, that trope I think was done well because it explores not just who's the winner and who's gonna have our romantic moment with this girl. It's more like, yo, like one chapter is like, yo, you're kind of a shitty person. This like one boy, like you act like this, and you know we're all trying to be friends here. Like, what are you doing? And they explore their friendship, and they do have many beach episodes and an onsen episode, and school trip to Hokkaido. and some
Love
shit.
an onsen episode. I'm always a fan
I
of an
love
onsen episode.
episodes. But I think that's done well. So I think in that case, yes. But tropes.
I feel like Takahashi, and we're gonna get into Takahashi. Takahashi does it better than anyone, in my opinion. But maybe I'm just old and cranky. But like, I will put up with the Rama 1/2 and the Urusei Yatsura harems.
Although Ranma is particularly hilarious because both Ranma and Akane are just loved by an infinite number of
Yeah.
overlapping people.
And
Like-
they're just not into it at all. Like deeply not into it. It's not even
but
like
in
that.
a funny way where the people are trying to date them, not in a
Yeah, and then in Urusei Yatsura, I love it's the fact that everybody that it's a reverse harem anime where it's the male protagonist, and we'll get into this when we eventually do Takahashi, is awful. Everybody hates him except this one girl, and everyone is going, "What is wrong with you? He's a monster." And it's
Reverse harem is when it's the girl, but
yeah.
would you describe it?
That's the anti-harem, maybe.
Yeah, that would be the anti-harem. where
I
everyone-
also I love as a subversion of it. I love Oh My Goddess.
Oh, Belle
Where
Dandy.
it's sort of like a dude ends up with 3 beautiful goddesses there, but they're just making his life complicated most of the time. Like it's not like he's trying to bang them.
It's hot for a minute, and then he's like, "Oh no, oh no."
It can be done to an extent for like comedy purposes, like Tenchi Moyo. Y'all remember that?
No
Johnny
need for
man,
Tenchi.
we're going to
Remember
Tenchi,
Moyo
are we?
ones? And it's like the boy who is like a secret ancestor of. It depends which one you watch, OVA or the series. He's powers basically, and then a bunch of aliens come who are like hot ladies who are like, we love Tenchi, and he's like, whoa, y'all are wild and crazy.
Yeah, and it never felt too exploitive, which made Tenchi. I was
So-
never like bombarded with boob and butt.
So harem stuff, not my favorite trope. A trope we do like, though we did mention, is the onsen.
Oh man,
vacations.
onsen
I love that trope. I love that they fucking on vacation.
I'm
together.
like, and now we're gonna have an
doing it.
episode with like weird, inappropriate nudity for the next half hour. I'm like, all right, we're in.
Because the definition of inappropriate nudity is different, which is a thing to know as you're getting into manga. Different stuff strikes them as not appropriate.
What are we going to do with all this flesh tone paint? Only notes an episode. All right. That's my theory
Yeah,
on
it's
it.
the paint that's causing the problem,
Yeah.
not society.
They made way too much flesh tone paint. And they got to burn through it.
And also, there's a hot spring.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
and they are. And if you ever go to Japan, they are the greatest thing
Absolutely
on
do it. Do
Oh.
not be worried about the nudity thing. It's all the same gender. It's fine.
earth. Yeah,
No one
they're
cares.
so man.
Whoever who cares is you. It's fine.
Yeah, I did the one that was up you had to walk up a mountain. There was like 100 different pools, and they all had different things. There was like
Oh.
coffee
Did
bath
they
and a
turn you
sake
into
bath.
anything?
Oh, there was, and like we were going like the sound bath that had sound waves in it, and then there was like the alcohol bath, which was a little heavy. It was just like they just steamed sake through it so you could smell it, and then like I was with my friend who was Japanese and should have known better because Japanese is his first language. It was like, oh, what's this one? And jumped into the cold bath and then screamed bloody murder. And ran.
Just
like,
unobservant.
like, I know what that kanji is. My God, dude.
Let's see. Do we have any
Yeah, please.
more questions we want to get
I miss
in
Japan
there?
so much.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite
back.
comic book romance? Asked Clown Prince 220.
Comic book romance. I mean, it's not Colossus and Kitty Pryde. Ugh.
All right, well.
They have
It,
a
like,
troubled
was.
history now.
I know.
I
There's-
know.
Like, all those old Marvel ones, man, they fucking get the 90s. I'm talking about the 90s, by the way, but like, goddamn, Forge and Sword, you make me so mad.
I love
You
that
make me
'cause
so mad. Storm, you dumb
I'm gonna
bitch.
say like
well, he was involved in the thing. Of course she's heartbroken.
I feel like Gambit was the Mr. Darcy of our generation. I'm just throwing that out there that you're just like no, just no,
Are you
not
still making that
one.
movie? By the way, we call
I
in
don't
my
know.
friends
Who
circle, we
knows?
call Channing Tatum Charming Potato because he looked like a potato. He got
I'm
the
gonna
potato eyes
assume
and
I go
the
there,
potato
though.
face.
That means he is one of Erica Ishii's fans.
Oh, maybe
Oh, yeah,
that would
no.
be
A
cool.
charming potato.
He's a
I-
great little.
Variant.
He's a cute potato. Like he's fine. He's a charming potato.
I love Starch. If it ain't obvious, I absolutely love Starch.
Gambit movie don't happen.
Ah.
Okay, moving on.
No, we don't want a Gambit movie.
There
Well,
is a
I mean,
fabulous comic right now called X-Men Rogue and Gambit, where they are playing on all
Yes.
of everybody's like collective
Oh,
love and
and
memory
it's
of the
good?
90s.
it's
Yeah.
kind of brilliant, and man, I can't wait for you to read X-Men Red because I'm back. I'm so excited. I don't know. My favorite. I was really into Orange Road. That really did things to me.
I mean, like off the list, I already talked about like. Oh, did we talk about monthly? We didn't talk about monthly girls.
No, we didn't
Mizaki-kun?
talk about.
Ooh, what's that?
Mizaki-kun is very good. You should just look. It's on Crunchyroll. I think it aired like 2 seasons ago. But it's also a very good. It's a 4-koma manga, which is like a 4-panel manga. Each page is 4 panels, and it's usually it's set up to do comedy. It's so funny. Like I was just getting cut out before I came here, and I was like literally rolling around in bed like laughing. 'Cause it's just so good. The girl is in love with this boy in high school. He's secretly a manga author, and he's very like doesn't understand that this girl is in love with him. So she's like, oh, she confesses to him, and he thinks, oh, you're a fan? Here's my autograph, and like walks away. And the whole dynamic is basically like, hey, help me with my work, and she's like, okay, and like he's not mean to her though. He's like too nice to her. It's really good and funny.
Alright.
But they are like my favorite. Like, that series is so good. You guys have to read it if you have any time in your life. It's VVV good. But anyway, those two are my favorite couple because he's so nice to her, and she's so like. I hate my life. Whatever, it's fine. It's good. It's good.
Taliesin, why do they want you to say the word shagging?
Shagging. I don't know. Shagging.
Nice.
Do you look British today? Is that
I
good?
can. I can look British if we need a little. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
pleased with
Happy to
this
say these
question.
things.
Thank you.
Happy to say these things for the internet.
But we only have 1 minute left. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for
this
having
was really
me.
delightful.
Yeah, you guys are so fun.
Thank you for coming and playing. It's been a while, and it was nice. It was nice having you.
I'm just gonna be increasingly mad at you. We're like, how many more awesome friends are you holding out on that I haven't met yet?
So many. I know. I'm like. I'm.
It's my
I've been like.
secret devious purpose for this show. Like,
No, I'm slowly trying to dull as many of my friends out onto this couch as humanly possible, and just like
Is this couch made of friend flesh now?
It is actually. It is
with certain
Buffalo Bill orange.
qualities.
Yeah. And your shoes are. I'm having shoe envy. So
Thanks.
Ugh,
Yeah.
They light up, but not right now.
Just
'cause they're not-
distinctly fabulous.
I'm always excited. I'm always excited by your style and design.
Thank you, darling. Oh, and yours as well. Thank you.
Where can people find more of you
Yes.
and your awesome opinions? And
You can find me on the internet at I am Chubby Bunny on all social media. I'm also a host over at Hyper RPG, which you guys know of, and I'm also the host of a new podcast called Senpai Buddies, a comedy podcast about weeaboo shit, and it's actually about Asian culture news, but we like barely get into it because we just fight for like. It's only like a 30-minute podcast, so it's very good. So senpaibuddies.com is where you can find that.
That's amazing.
I'm very excited about that. That is so. Yes, please check that stuff out because these are great friends who make good shit, and I feel like we don't really cover enough of that on our end of things. So you should go check that out more.
Year two, we're getting past one country. But yeah, speaking of next week, we are going to have Fables and Fairy Tales. Probably mostly just literally the series Fables, but like with other stuff, which we've just been talking about for a long time. So get some prep on for that if you'd like, and stay tuned right now for the second episode of Weave, our new storytelling game, where I get to hang out with the former Minds Across and AXYB ladies and do nonsense.
Play
with that
crazy
wonderful,
game
wonderful
that I love.
game.
It's fabulous. I'm Taliesin Jaffe. You can find me at Executive Goth everywhere that it matters, and see me here Thursday nights and Friday nights because of shows that we do here.
Do
Critical
you have a
Role.
thing on Thursday?
I have a thing on Thursday, which is why I don't get to see
I've
Black
never heard of
Panther
it.
with the rest of you. Don't think I didn't
You'll
notice.
get there soon. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks.